Drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. It's 7 o'clock, your time check. Brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley is here, Super Bowl champ. Carey Davis is here. I'm Randy Karraker, and Craig Berube is still not the head coach of the St. Louis Blues. That's your headline today.
I was
He's
hoping
still not.
something like when we went to sleep the night before he was fired. Maybe when we went to sleep last night, they said, you know,
Like George Steinbrenner and Billy Martin back in the day?
Yeah. Bring him on back. You know what? 24 hours was enough. Yeah, we realized. That
He's
press
still
conference
fun.
was intriguing.
Yeah.
We'll
It
hear
was.
from Doug Armstrong and what he had to say yesterday throughout the course of the morning. We're also going to talk later on with Bernie Federko, the Hockey Hall of Famer. He's played for a few coaches for the St. Louis Blues. Mike Yeo in studio at 8:45. I always enjoyed, guys, Mike Yeo when he, before Craig Berube replaced him.
Not that Mike Yeo. I think we got a different Mike Yeo. That's a different spelling. For Mike Yeo. Mike Yeo was he was released of his duties as a coach. He's not that guy. This guy's a comedian. He's funny though. He is funny.
Okay.
He didn't go into comedy after getting fired from the Blues.
And then Greg Amsinger's in L.A. for the Shohei Ohtani press conference that the Dodgers are going to stage tonight. And Greg will join us later than usual on Friday Eve. It will be Greg Amsinger at 9:15. The Blues back in action tonight. First game under Drew Bannister. It's a 6 o'clock pregame and a 7 o'clock faceoff here on 101 ESPN. Blues take on Vladimir Tarasenko and the Ottawa Senators. Should be interesting to have Vladdy back in town. I hope they give him a nice. I just hope that he gets a video that is worthy of his career here in St. Louis, because he was such a key member of the St. Louis Blues for such a long time. Vladdy, you had that 37-goal season. You had the shoulder injuries. But we remember the Stanley Cup. Mm-hmm. We remember you being the man for so many years, wearing number 91, scoring 2 goals in your debut against the Wings when we really hated them. Vladdy, thank you for being a great member of the St. Louis community. Thank you very much for your contribution to the economy of the Italian restaurant scene here in town. And thank you very much for what you've done for St. Louis.
Did he love the Italian restaurant scene here?
Oh, carry out after games, baby. There's a reason that we had Big Vladdy in the playoffs. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You probably shouldn't eat that every night.
Not every night, but after a game and before you go to bed.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, I know you got to, replenish yourself after a game, but maybe not every night. Yeah, I don't know. So
Doug Armstrong did hold a press conference yesterday after he had fired Craig Berube. Fired him. And it's interesting because, as we know, the Blues said during the offseason, Tom Stillman said, here, we aren't going to be elite. Before the season started, Doug Armstrong said, I want to be in the middle third of teams. And here we are, about a third of the way into the season, and the Blues were in the middle third, lower part of the middle third. Mm-hmm. But something happened after we had a segment where we said, the Blues got to win 3 out of 4 against 3 of the bottom 5 teams in the league. And Army clearly was listening to that and was paying attention. And that's when he started thinking about what he did.
When you get up and you read the clippings the next day and the players from the opposition, the coaches are, what a character win, what a gutsy win. I can't believe we did that last night. We're undermanned. We played the night before against a rested team. So if they feel that way about their performance, how would we feel about our performance? I personally didn't feel well about our performance. And you try and extend someone you have as much respect for, and Craig, as much latitude and rope as possible. But last night's game against a depleted Detroit team that was tired looked a lot like a depleted Columbus team that was tired and a depleted Chicago team. And there just wasn't a feeling that there was something that was going to change today if we just came in and went back to work that would make tomorrow different.
And so Drew Bannister will try to get the most out of this team. I'm not so sure that Craig Berube didn't get the most out of this team, but from an effort standpoint and clearly from a production standpoint, it hadn't happened in the last 4 games for Craig Berube.
No, I mean, that was the biggest story of the season is inconsistency. And I thought it was really interesting. Martin Kilcoyne had a question about that, about the message just possibly getting stale with any coach over time. You know, you could do a lot, but over time, your message gets stale with your group, especially with a lot of different changes and guys coming in and out. And I thought it was interesting with what he said, where he said that him and Craig Berube would have these conversations before every game of what is the message going into the game. And then he'd be excited to see the message, and then he'd watch the game, and he could tell that the message was not there on the ice. It's something that we've talked about all the time, but I go back to Shin's comments this past weekend where he made it very clear, like, there's some guys who are not putting in consistent intensity all the time. This is on the players not executing. So, yes, you can sit there and preach the message all the time. And, Carey, I know that you have some thoughts on this because you can preach it all the time, but you also can't force the execution out there.
At the end of the day, the players play the game, and I'll say this to the end of time. I can call the best player in the world, and the player could run it incorrectly, and then we don't have a great play. Or I can call the worst player in the world, and something happens where a player makes an outstanding play, and we're like, whoa, why did that happen? Great call. No, that wasn't me. That was him. It's on the players to do their job, and if Craig Berube is telling Army, this is the message, this is what we need to work on, this is the things that we talked about and what we're going to do in this game, and then you turn on that game, and you see none of that, well, either you didn't tell them that or they ain't listening. So one or the other is happening, and it becomes so frustrating to watch over and over and over again. And some things that Armstrong said yesterday that were really, I think, intriguing to me. He admitted the team obviously is inconsistent. He said, and nobody in this group should feel safe.
Right.
That to me was alarming. That we had to fire one person due to the fact that I can't fire 5 or 6. He said roster changes are hard to make, meaning I can't turn this entire roster over or move 4 or 5 guys within a year span or a 6-month span. I can remove one guy and hope that you all get the message. You're not safe. He's gone, but you could be next. And I think that was a very telling message for everyone in that room to understand, look, we got to be better, and if not, people are going to be gone.
Now, one of the interesting things that I thought occurred was there used to be a high level of confidence in Doug Armstrong about Craig Berube. This is what Army had to say last November, not this November of 23, but November of 22, about 10% of the way into the season.
I told the players the coach is not going anywhere because the coach came from the American Hockey League where he coached young players and made them better, and he coached veteran players and made them win here. So he can do both. So he's going to be here. I believe in the coach. I believe in the system. And this isn't a system issue. It's a competitive issue. And we have to rectify that. And I do say I do believe in the group. That's a very self-serving thing to say because I put the group together. And ultimately, it's my responsibility to judge what they do.
So that was last November. So Jeremy Rutherford asked yesterday in the press conference, what changed?
Well, we were a team that was expected to be good with veteran players that he had gotten the most out of. We had again 110 points the year before, and we're talking, what was that, be 4 or 5 weeks into the season, you know? So what has changed? A year has changed. A year of information has changed.
So a year of information changed. I guess what was left out there was last year he had the ability, and throughout his American Hockey League career, Craig Berube had the ability to make young players better. Evidently, he's lost that ability.
Well, he also said we were a team of veteran players, and are they still a team of veteran players, or do you consider them, you lose O'Reilly, you lose Tarasenko, you trade those guys away, Barbashev. The team is different. The veteran players, the veteran leadership is out the door. They're in different cities, and they're having success in other places, and now you're leaning on a younger group of guys to be the ones to carry on the tradition or keep it going in the direction. And I just don't think that it hasn't been done. And I'm sure it's extremely frustrating for him, and it's frustrating for us as fans watching.
You could put Scotty Bowman behind the bench with this group. and they're still going to be middle third. They might be a little bit better than where they are, but they're still going to be a middle third team. You can't squeeze blood out of a turnip.
No, yeah, that's a saying for sure.
Yeah.
I can't say that I've heard that one before. It caught me off guard. No, I've never heard that one before. But I'm going to go use that about 20 times today.
Yeah.
That'll be my new signature saying. But that's what I'm kind of confused about, because we talked about this yesterday. The expectations weren't that high for this group coming in. We had Tom Stillman say that. We had Doug Armstrong saying that. It seemed like everybody was on the same page of what the expectations were for this team, and they are doing that. Now, are they playing consistently every single night, and have these losses been great? No. But at the same time, I thought that they were doing exactly what was expected of them. So my big question today is, what can you get out of this group? What kind of coach can come in here and get the most out of this group? And guys, let's be honest here. I think that it's getting the most out of Jordan Kyrou, right? Because Doug Armstrong spoke about that yesterday, about how definitely this is not what they want to see from Jordan Kyrou this season, especially early on. We know about his lack of goals here lately, but what kind of coach can come in here and get the most, not just out of Jordan Kyrou, but this entire group, the young players, the veterans?
And I think the other question that we don't know the answer to is, what is Jordan Kyrou's ultimate upside? Granted, they Army gave him the contract because he believes that he has a chance to be a star player. He's being paid like a star player, right? But can he be a 37-goal guy that doesn't play defense, or can he be a guy that plays okay defense but doesn't score? Or can he put it all together and be that guy at the age of 25? He's not a kid anymore. And at some point, he's got to produce, or you've got the old white elephant.
I think the frustrating part for me is when we talk about who can get the most out of this guy. As a pro athlete, you're a self-starter. You don't need, it's not
Carey, I think that's a problem here.
It's not Little League. I don't have to give you all a wonderful, man, go do your damn job. You want motivation? We got paid on Tuesday. Tuesday is your damn motivation, man.
Carey, the reason they're self-starters is because you don't have to start them. And clearly, Kyrou is not a self-starter, right? He's got a guy that continually has to be motivated. And even when a coach he was a great motivator. Craig Berube's going to go somewhere, like Army said, and he's going to succeed at a high level as a coach. But when you have a guy that you have to convince to play hard every day, and he's making $8 million a year, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And that's why I said yesterday. And I don't know about from a personality standpoint, but clearly, when your highest paid player is a guy that you have to try to convince to play hard every day, that's a coach killer.
Yeah. It is, and that's exactly what happened in this situation. Yep. Just to give you this quote on what Armstrong said about Jordan Kyrou, he said, "I'm not trying to throw Jordan Kyrou under the bus by any stretch, but if he envisioned where do I want to be at this point in the year, he wouldn't say that it's right where I want to be. Our job now is to get him where he wants to get to."
Yeah, and
that last line is so telling, where he wants to get to.
Where does he want to get to? That's the question. And that's the scary question if you're paying the guy $8 million a year for the next 7 years. One more quote from yesterday, and this is Jordan Binnington when asked about his reaction to Army telling the players it's on them now.
I think kind of the message was, if you're not here to be great or to do what it takes to win, to make a difference, to sacrifice for your team, then get out of here. So, we got to be proud to wear that blue note jersey and proud to be part of this organization and be played for this city. And if you're not, just get out of here because, we're not wasting time. I think these are special years. Being able to play in the NHL, it's a privilege, and it's not going to be forever. So I think a good amount of us, we understand that, and we want to make the most of our time.
I hope you're watching on the Air Alliance Team Studio Cam on YouTube at 101 ESPN STL and watching Carey Davis here.
That's not good, man. Like, I don't want to say it's falling apart at the seams because I don't know if it's you fired your coach. I mean, you got players, you got the GM, you got people talking about certain players, and I will say this is not just Jordan Kyrou
no.
to dump and pile on him, and maybe it's not him at all, but there are multiple people in that locker room that are deciding every single day that I don't give a damn about y'all. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do for me. And that is the most selfish way to go about it. And you will never have great, long success when you have teammates that think like that. Those people have to be removed. You have to get them out of your locker room. You have to get them out of your life because if they are still around, they will continue to have that mindset. And then that mindset just kind of trickles down. There's a young player in that locker room that is watching this, that may be a guy that's been there 3 or 4 years, 5, 6 years. And you got a guy that's been there 1 or 2 years. He's watching. He's like, oh, okay, well, if I don't like it, I just do that. No, don't do that, man. Don't do that. The best thing somebody can call you is a good teammate. That's the ultimate, man. That's you know what? That man is a pro, and that is a damn good teammate. If you're not called that, then you're looked at in a different way in that locker room. And this is disheartening to hear because somebody should have been punched in the face months ago.
And guys, the reason, and I think Brooke, you'll agree with this, that Jordan Kyrou is a beacon is because he was evaluated as a star, paid as a star, but doesn't exhibit star effort on a regular basis. If everybody thought he was trying hard and was just playing in bad luck or had been misevaluated, but was a hard-working player, I don't think anybody would have a problem with it.
No.
Blues fans love a hard-working player. If you can pay Kelly Chase, who worked his butt off all the time, you can pay Kelly Chase that amount of money, and if he plays the way he played with that sort of effort, people will love him. Probably not be thrilled with the fact that he's your highest-paid player, but they'd love the hard work. Kyrou is not exhibiting either the way he was evaluated from a talent standpoint or the effort of being worthy of being the highest paid player on the team.
Well, and also the thing is CD, you're completely right. It's not just Jordan Kyrou. This is a bigger issue here. But at the same time, I think that the reason that Jordan Kyrou gets brought up so much is, to your point, Randy, because of this big contract, because people have these high expectations. And how many press conferences have we had now where it seems like the question of Jordan Kyrou's effort are being brought up not by media members, but actually by Doug Armstrong or even Craig Berube? How many times have we heard that now?
A lot.
Too many.
So that's the problem there. By the way, Jacob Verana was sent down yesterday, and they are bringing up Mackenzie McEachran from Springfield. So there's that, I guess, problem being solved right there, I guess.
Maybe it's a wake-up call for Jakob.
I don't know.
But and that's the thing is
he got waived from or released from the was it Red Wings?
Oh yeah.
So I don't know that's a wake up call. But he wants to play, and if you want to play, you got to play better. It's kind of a oxymoron.
Coming up here on 101 ESPN, we didn't get to it yesterday because of the Craig Berube firing being so hot. Very rarely do you get a chance for a Thursday Ask Uncle Randy, but we've got it today. Get your text in to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Or you can join us on the Air Alliance team studio cam, and you can just leave us a note there. Wherever you want to ask Uncle Randy about this holiday season, about the Blues, about what's going on in your life, I'm happy to answer a question for you next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN.
All right, the text line is open. I hope you're happy today. I hope you're having a great Friday Eve so far. Maybe wrapping up some of that holiday shopping or just enjoying yourself, enjoying some of the great food and drink that's available this season. Hope your young love is blooming and you're thinking about what I should do in a couple of weeks to make my life even better. Well, the text line is open and Ask Uncle Randy's advice is available for you. So send in your text right now. Matthew will have the question. Obviously, you have the resources of Uncle Carey and Aunt Brooke as well. So feel free to join us and get some free advice. So now you know via radio. Matthew, what do we got?
This is a fantastic one. Uncle Randy, how do you deal with the immense anger brought on by standstill traffic? We've been crawling for an hour, and I've never felt the white-hot rage of a dying star more in my entire life.
Okay, that's a great question, and I do appreciate it. So, 30-year-old Randy is a lot different than 60-year-old Randy. 30-year-old Randy, one time, got stuck in the St. Patrick's Day parade. I had a noon sports open line at KMOX. And, Brooke, you know the garage well over at Gateway Tower.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Going down Walnut. And I'm stopped at 4th Street. And there's a parade going by, and I can't get through. And I'm there at 11:30, and I'm there at 11:35. And I've got a little Honda CRX, little tiny car. And about 11:40, 11:41, 11:42, I'm thinking, oh, I might not make it and start my open line. They're going to have dead air. And what does 30-year-old Randy do? Probably 28-year-old Randy. I start pounding on my steering wheel, and I literally bent my steering wheel. And for the rest of the time I had that little Honda CRX, the steering wheel was bent backward. Boom, boom, boom. Finally, I just pulled right out in front of some horses and went past them and got in and got on the air right at noon. That was 28, 30-year-old Randy. 60, 61-year-old Randy is a different animal. I breathe. As you know, Carey, I say this to you all the time. Smell the flowers. Blow out the candles. I breathe. I listen to music that I like. And this is a key because I do this every day of my life now. I choose happiness. Rather than anger and impatience and violence, I choose happiness. And I make it a conscious decision to sit there in traffic and say, you know what? There's not a damn thing I can do about this, and I'm not going to worry about things I can't control.
That's the important part. There is literally nothing you can do about it. Nothing legal. You know,
Right.
you sit there, you be patient. You're all going through it. Hopefully you got enough gas and you got enough time to you don't have to use the restroom. You can just sit there and hold on.
I may or may not have used a curse word as I took out my frustration and anger on the steering wheel that one time.
I told you I was in L.A. and on the 405 and saw my exit, and I think I sat there for 2 more hours. And about an hour in, Randy, I did contemplate just leaving that damn car right there and walking. But, you know.
It'd be faster. I feel like that's more torture just sitting there looking
terrible.
at your exit,
It was
knowing.
Question. Is there another city in America that doesn't call their highways the? We have 270, we have 70, we have 170, we have 64. Is there any other city in America that doesn't call their highways the 405, the 10, the 35, whatever? What about Nashville? Do they call the highways the?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is very unique. Like when I moved here, a lot of people say the farty far.
Farty far.
The farty far. Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like other cities, they call their highway numbers the.
It rocks.
Matthew.
Why does he get so bothered with
The farty far. What's wrong with that?
Because we make fun of your accent. It's like, hey now. You decide to take a little pot shot.
No, I love it.
Some beloved people who
I
just
just
can't
wasn't
talk a little
expecting it.
correctly.
Like the first time I heard it, I was like, what was that?
Did you
The farty
chuckle?
far? Because it was just the Midwestern. They teach you in journalism school that the Midwest accent is the accent. So that's what I stuck studied and would just practice that. And so then when I moved here, that was the first time I heard any sort of inkling of an accent was when somebody said farty far. And I was like, excuse me? Like, what are you talking about?
I luckily did not grow up with a lot of people who said farty far. That would have driven me insane.
Matthew asked this question. I'm going to go close the blinds so that he's not blinded.
There you go.
I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Why do we call things that don't blind you blinds?
Blinds.
Why do you park on the driveway and drive on the parkway,
Yeah,
Randy?
that's
That's
a
the
very good
question.
question.
Uncle Randy, why are STL sports fans, specifically Cardinal fans, so insufferable?
Because they've won so much. That happens.
Are they insufferable, though?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Chicago
oh,
could.
yeah.
In comparison to other
We're the
fan
worst.
bases? No.
Fans of teams that win a lot. That was the genesis of punch a Red Wing fan in the face.
What's worse, though? Fans that win a lot or fans that lose a lot? Which
worst
fan base is worse?
Okay, the worst are the fans, Rangers fans right now, Cubs fans before they won, that have teams that never win, but think they
those
knew
people
they
are
invented the
terrible.
sport. Yeah.
Those are terrible individuals.
So insufferable, the Oxford definition. Too extreme to bear, intolerable. We are, but you know what? At least we can lean on the 11 world championships,
We
right?
do get a lot of hate.
Yeah, we do, and you know we deserve it. And by the way, there's also this false narrative that it's Cardinal fans that dubbed themselves the best fans in baseball when it was indeed Peter Gammons, Tony Gwynn, Peter Ueberroth. Peter Ueberroth came into St. Louis in 1987 when we were going to draw 3 million people, stood at second base on a giant podium and said, this is a miracle of modern sport that St. Louis was going to draw 3 million fans. How often did you hear Bud Selig, Commissioner of Baseball, say these are the best fans in baseball? How often did you hear Albert Pujols as a member of the Angels, who was being paid by the Angels, and they draw well, and they have good fans? How often did Albert Pujols say Cardinals fans are the best fans in baseball? People that know the sport know that Cardinal fans are the best fans in baseball. And that's probably what makes us insufferable. Are Yankees fans insufferable? Yes. Are Red Sox fans insufferable? The worst, except for Patriots fans. Right?
I think Patriots fans are pretty up there.
And you add in that
if I'm being
accent
honest.
was just like, oh my God.
Matthew, was it you? Or it was either Matthew or my friend Big Frank. Somebody said that it was you in Boston. People are saying now, I've got a kid that's 5 years old and hasn't experienced a Super Bowl championship yet.
Oh, yeah. It's not okay.
One of Rich Eisen's producers said, hey, there are 4-year-olds in Boston who don't know what a championship looks like.
It's like go to other places where they will never know. Some people have never experienced winning.
That is too extreme to bear or intolerable there.
I feel bad. I was 18. I think I saw a picture of that 12-year-old kid at another parade, and he had a sign that had like 12 championships, all the parades he'd been to. I'm like,
my God.
I feel bad, but I do want to fight this 12-year-old child right now.
Slap him.
Dear Uncle Randy.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
I think with that shirt, he probably deserves it.
Exactly. Dear Uncle Randy, what do you do when you fall out of love with a team? I don't want to sound like a spoiled fan, here we go, but it's hard to connect with the current core. I miss the days of players doing absolutely everything they can for the note. Where are the Backus, Petro, Perron, Schwartzy-type players who laid it all on the line night in and night out? Where are the Oshie, Tarasenko, Fabry-type players who want to make you get out of your seat? Where is the passion?
If you're a real fan, you don't fall out of love with the team. If you're a real fan, you are all about Bob Plager, and you're about the crest on the front rather than the name on the back. You are about St. Louis. You are about Kelly Chase. You are about people that take great pride in the city and in the crest on the jersey and not on the guys on the back of the jersey. But if your favorite players, if you aren't somebody who's dedicated to the crest and you're concerned about Oshie and Backus, go become a Capitals fan by all means, because Oshie's still playing. And if you're a Vladdy fan, go tonight. Buy a ticket and watch Vladdy tonight. But no, especially in a town like us, any place north and east of St. Louis, your team is part of your DNA. It's just who you are, it's who you grew up with. Now, if you go south and west of St. Louis, where you have a million transplants, if you go to Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, L.A., you're going to have a million transplants, and your city is not going to be what people root for. But here in a town like this, people are rooting for the city rather than necessarily we're literally rooting for the laundry here in St. Louis.
Well, can the players that are on the current team kind of ruin your experience, though? Like if you're watching a team that you've grown to love, and then there's a group of players for a 3 to 5 year span that are just not what because we're talking about Pittsburgh. I feel like the Blues and the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the same. Ben said that the tradition is gone. Like, can that ruin the fan experience because of a stretch of certain number of years?
I can tell you there will never be a day in my life where I'm not rooting for the Cardinals or the Blues. Never.
Okay.
And I'm not thrilled with what the Blues have done here in firing Craig Berube. You guys know I'm not thrilled with the way the Cardinals have built their team for 2024. But am I rooting for them? Do I have a ton of Cardinal gear that I paid a lot of money for? Yeah, because those are my teams.
Maybe it takes longer because I think Knicks fans have been done with the Knicks at one point. Like, I don't want to watch this product anymore. I don't want to see this team. They're terrible. They were good at one point, and then they became terrible. So maybe it takes a longer span than 3 to 5 years, just inconsistent play.
And Carey, it's weird. And I think there are all different kinds of sports fans. One of the reasons that I tell people I'll never lose passion for sports is because I love competition. I love to be around and watch competition. And some people are in it for winning, which is fine. That's another sports fan. But I just enjoy, even the Rams, when they were terrible at the end, I always had hope. I bought my tickets because I had hope, and I enjoyed, such as it was, the competition. And
Exactly.
it wasn't very competitive at times.
No. Well, the competition, and then also, too, as long as the ownership still cares, because the teams are going to change constantly, right? I mean, look at how much turnover there's been for both of them, even in the last year. It's going to be the ownership making sure they still put a good product out there. That's where I feel like you see fan bases really dwindle. I mean, look at everything that happened with the A's, right?
Right.
I mean, the ownership wanted the fans to go away.
That happened here with the Rams. Yep.
Also, just based on that person's text of like who the stars they watched were, that tells me that probably in their mid-20s, early 30s. And sports fandom's different for a lot of people at 15 years old and at 35.
Yep.
Like it's never going to feel like the magic it felt when you were 12 watching your team it's different when you get older. And I think that's something people have a tough time realizing, is that sports fandom's different for a lot of people just as you grow up.
And I've told you guys a million times, my favorite memories as a kid are going to football Cardinal games with my dad, and my favorite memories in sports are still resonating in my head. That's why I wore my Stanley Cup champions pullover yesterday. It was to honor Craig Berube in that memory. And so I'm always going to have those memories, and there's no way I could ever fall out of love with that memory. All right, give me one more here, Matthew. We'll make it quick.
All right, Randy, let's say you host a Christmas party and you didn't invite everyone you know, and then you run into that person and they say, hey, your party looked like it was a lot of fun. How do I handle that, Uncle Randy?
Well, I think this is very easy.
That's so awkward.
It was actually.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking. I don't know.
That's the thing.
And you just stare at
It's
him.
passive aggressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
On both ends. You give it to me, I give it back. What the hell are you talking about? Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah,
Sorry, that's not the advice we're looking for.
Exactly, right. No, this is very easy. If somebody comes up to you and says, hey, the party looked fun, say, yeah, I just wanted to get together with my very closest friends and wanted to get together with them to celebrate the holidays because this is really an important time of year for me and for them.
If we were better friends, we would talk more, wouldn't we?
Yep.
But then what if it's someone that you do kind of know, or maybe you used to be close with, and then that
person
friendship
thinks
has
differently about the
dissipated?
friendship than you do, though, right?
Clearly.
Yeah.
Because they weren't invited.
Because if you made a mistake, oh, shoot, man, I forgot to send you the message. I got it. I apologize. But if it's not somebody that you talk to, yeah, we had a great time.
You want to look at some photos?
Hey, look at this. Look at what we did.
Check out the shrimp tray.
What are you talking about, man?
Thank you, Randy. Thanks very much for your text. We do appreciate them. Coming up, did Shohei Ohtani and before him Nolan Arenado kind of change the way baseball stars are going to have their teams built? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're looking for the absolute perfect, thoughtful gift for everybody on your holiday list, give them the gift of me time. A Massage Envy gift card is the way to go. So relaxing, and it just makes your day. And you can use the gift card for a massage or a facial or a stretch. And now, through December 31st, when you buy $100 in Massage Envy gift cards, you're going to get a free $20 promo card to keep for yourself. Good idea. Or add to someone else's gift. Massage Envy, where better begins. Offer good in location only, not available online. Terms apply. See franchise locations for details at Massage Envy.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are back in action, and this time with Drew Bannister behind the bench, facing off against the Ottawa Senators. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop. It'll be a 6 p.m. pregame show right here on 101 ESPN and 101ESPN.com. Plenty of Blues talk coming up on the show. We have Hall of Famer Bernie Federko joining Carey, Brooke, and Randy at 8:15. Then we're going to change it over to some baseball talk late this time on a Thursday, 9:15. MLB Network lead host Greg Amsinger joins the show. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
We talk a lot about payrolls in Major League Baseball now, and when Nolan Arenado agreed to come to the Cardinals, he deferred $50 million of his salary for the future. $20 million of that was in 2021, and then $6 million a year from 22 through 26. So you had 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Those 5 years at $6 million per. That's 30 plus the $20 million that he deferred from 2021. Now that at times is being paid during the course of the contract, but the point is, for those years, Arenado has given the Cardinals more flexibility to spend more money. That was taken to another level most recently by Shohei Ohtani when he signed on Saturday with the Dodgers. The contract officially announced last night, but he gets $70 million a year for 10 years, but he's deferring $68 million of that and won't be completely paid off. Ohtani won't until 2043. Why did he do it? For two reasons. Number one, to allow the Dodgers to escape the luxury tax in baseball, to allow them to go out and pursue more quality players, because he wants to win. I know that Carey Davis is a give me my money now kind of guy, and that trumps winning. But clearly, here's a couple of guys that have not won, and for them, they're willing to take their money a little bit later so that they can win. I wonder if this will become more prevalent in sports, or if we're going to have players that just don't really care as much about winning as they care about their own bank account.
I thought I read somewhere that some owners and management were upset by that decision, that contract, because it puts them in a precarious situation to where now players may be asking for that, and they don't teams might not have or want to pay you 10 years later or have the funds just sitting around and be willing or able to pay you, 10 years from now. I think it's a great deal for Shohei because he has done a great job in his career. Obviously, he's making tons of money off of endorsements, so the other $68 million is not that much of a concern for him. But it's showing that he wants to win, and something that you can be the best player in the world, and all of these people say all these wonderful things about you, but they haven't called you a champion yet. And so going to LA to the Dodgers, taking this money on the back end, leaving money for other people to get paid as well, really shows that he cares about winning and wants to be a champion.
But if you're a teammate, if you're in the locker room and he walks in there, you say, "Man, you're crazy."
Well, yes and no, because again, I wouldn't mind having $68 million a year in 10 years when I'm done playing.
Right.
Where that check just steadily comes in.
It's just there.
Yeah.
What'd you do today? I went to the mailbox and got $68 million. How about you? Didn't do that.
Well, because also the national narrative, too, was, man, this is a crazy amount of money, which it is, but Shohei Ohtani is a very special and unique player. That's why they call him the unicorn, so he deserves this money. And so the narrative, when you heard that coming out, there were so many national pundits. I'll go ahead and say it was Stephen A. Smith and Mad Dog basically calling out Shohei and the Dodgers for this insane contract and why would you spend all this money, and almost painting this picture of him being selfish for taking this amount of money. And then you got the information about how much money he deferred, and that narrative starts to dissipate. Yes, that money is still going to be coming in and is a lot of it, but Shohei is showing that he wants to win and he wants to make sure that the Dodgers are going to be as competitive as possible to be able to break through this threshold where they have had success in the regular season in recent years, but not as much success in the postseason.
I wonder, Brooke and Carey, if Nolan Arenado is satisfied with what the Cardinals have done. Now, as I mentioned, his deferrals, he's getting paid now with his deferred money. He's not getting a bunch of money after his contract retires. He's getting a bunch, but he's not getting all of it after his contract expires. But I wonder if Arenado is happy with the way the Cardinals have spent their money with the knowledge that he deferred what he did.
That's a great question. I would love to know how Nolan Arenado feels about all of this, but just based off of last season, and I don't think Nolan Arenado would be the only one frustrated with this, to be fair, but you could just kind of tell that maybe the team in general was frustrated that there weren't some more pieces added, because you went out, you got Wilson Contreras, which handled that situation, but then nothing else was added. So I don't know if they had conversations with Nolan where they said, yeah, we're going to make sure that we're getting all these extra pieces, and that didn't come into fruition. I would hope that is not the case, and I'm sure he feels a little bit better about some of the moves that have been made, because it seems like the Cardinals are at least addressing multiple things here.
Right, and here is the breakdown of Arenado's deferments. He deferred, as we mentioned, $20 million in 2021, paid with 2% interest in 10 equal installments each July 1st from 22 through 2031, and then deferring $6 million a year, 22 through 26, paid with no interest in 10 installments of $3 million each on July 1st, 2032 through 2031. So he gets the payments on July 1st of 22 through 31, equal installments of 20. So it'll be roughly $2 million a year, and then $3 million a year of 2032 through 2041. So those are his breakdowns. So the Cardinals do have most of that money going to be deferred from 2032 through 2041. So that's not bad for them, and they should, with those deferments, theoretically be able to pay guys more.
Yeah, and Holiday still makes like a little over $1 million until when? 2029, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
Until 2029. But here's another big part of this is those players will do this if they want to go somewhere where they know that they can win a championship during that time span, especially during the front end of these big contracts, right? That's what's going to really drive it. I thought it was interesting. Did you guys see the reports that Shohei Ohtani got the exact same offer from the Giants, but He obviously went with the Dodgers, which isn't surprising, but still, it has to be the players seeing, okay, this is going to be the most viable option of getting me a championship very early on the front end of this big contract.
And I'm a little bit surprised because we got a link yesterday to Ken Rosenthal's comments about San Francisco. And last year, Farhan Zaidi had said, we're having trouble getting players to sign in San Francisco. They went after Aaron Judge, couldn't get him. Correa, they offered $350. He had the back issue. He'd had that for a little longer than
week back.
Yeah.
Okay.
But actually, no, his was a leg.
That's a sneaky one.
His was a leg. I just wanted to get it in there. But now yesterday, because Ohtani wouldn't take the same contract, actually a little bit more that the Giants offered, amazingly, San Francisco is regarded as having a city problem that players don't want to go to.
Listen, San Francisco is obviously the same state as Los Angeles, so the taxes are the same.
Mm-hmm.
You got the housing market is as bad, if maybe worse, and then you talk about the downtown area, all of the people that have moved out and are not there. San Francisco is L.A. without it being L.A., if that makes sense. You don't get the L.A. experience. L.A., at least I'm going to pay all of these bills and pay this high mortgage, but I get to be in L.A. What do I get in San Francisco? It's not – you're going to be paying the same thing. You're going to be paid the same amount, but L.A. versus San Francisco, if I'm choosing, you're probably going to choose L.A.
Well, in the heartbeat of San Francisco was downtown pre-pandemic, and nobody goes downtown anymore. It's kind of like downtown St. Louis. It's
moving out, like because, and again, the prices. I don't know the mark, but they are on par and maybe more than what you're paying in LA. It is ridiculous in San Francisco the amount of money that is being spent there for homes and mortgages and rents. So nobody wants to be there.
So hopefully, my sincere hope is that the two teams that have the largest deferrals to players, and I hope it's us and the Dodgers, meet up in the NLCS this year. And then I hope their guy doesn't perform well and our guy does. And we go to the World Series, we being the Cardinals.
There you go.
It's December 14th. We can call the Cardinals we today.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Can we call the Blues we? Are we we? We?
Yeah. Our home of Our Blues 101 ESPN.
There you go.
Yeah, we're rights holder. Absolutely we can. Coming up, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line for Tioli, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Take it or leave it next on 101 ESPN. Hey, it's still time to work on that health insurance for 2024. And if you haven't gotten started yet, I have an answer for you today. Call my buddy Jordan Krugman. He's the health insurance guy at thehealthinsuranceguy.net. His number is 314-602-4055, 314-602-4055. And even if you call now on December 14th, Jordan can help you out if you need insurance for yourself or your company. He makes insurance easy because he's an independent broker and he works for you. Now, he can meet you via a phone call or a Zoom or at his office, but ultimately, Jordan is going to save you money. For example, example, Jordan recently received a call from a business owner with 4 employees, and they're now saving $380 a month on his coverage. The health insurance guy has great options for dental and vision and prescriptions, Medicare and life insurance. He does great work. He's done it for a long time and really knows the business. Healthcare.gov is a last resort. Those plans are really costly and really restrictive, and Jordan can find a great alternative for you. Once again, go to thehealthinsuranceguy.net or give Jordan a call. Tell him Randy told you to. 314-602-4055 for the best insurance at thehealthinsuranceguy.net.
Time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
With Brooke Grimsley, Carey Davis, and Matthew Rocchio, I'm Randy Karraker. Great to have you with us on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Time for Take It or Leave It. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Okay, Mizzou's getting ready to, obviously, to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes in their bowl game, the Cotton Bowl, on December 29th. You can see that on national TV at 7 o'clock St. Louis time. But Mizzou's new schedule was revealed last night on ESPN, and everybody saw it because everybody takes a look at the SEC schedules because it just means more.
I turned that program off, Randy.
Okay.
Everybody didn't watch it.
Take it or leave it. The only loss for 2024 for the Missouri Tigers is at Tuscaloosa against Alabama.
Ooh.
11-1.
The only loss?
11-1.
Yeah.
Randy, that's a tough task to
Wait, let me
repeat
pull up
the
the
success
schedule
that
again.
they've had this year.
Okay. I don't know. You got to watch out for
Computer is moving
UMass.
slow.
Yeah, right.
UMass.
That's going to be a tough one.
And they're going to
Come on,
UMass.
man.
Yeah, they'll.
Is that a little weird?
Why
Or is
does
that-
the SEC get 2 bye weeks?
I don't want to talk about the ridiculous Northeast
Why
stuff.
does the SEC get 2 bye weeks?
You mean Abai and Vanderbilt?
Yeah, well, that too. Well, I guess it's 3 bye weeks
It's
if you play them.
3. Yeah.
You get your regular bye, then you get Vandy, and then you get your non-conference game in week 12 of the season versus an FCS team.
Everybody plays the same amount of games. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I
I mean, this is a great
Does the
schedule
Big
for
Ten not do that?
Mizzou.
Do they start a week later?
We don't play an FCS opponent.
Everybody
at
plays
the
12
middle
games.
of the season. Yeah, but we play all Big Ten opponents after. What, the first 3 games you're
It doesn't
non-conference?
matter. Yeah, that doesn't matter. It doesn't
kinda
matter when you
matters.
play them. You're
Kinda
playing them.
matters.
Illinois is not playing a blood donor.
Illinois is at times the blood donor. Randy.
Okay, so
Oh my gosh.
here we go. Murray State W, right?
Yes.
Yep.
We always beat. Well, they're Kentucky. Sorry about that. But the Tennessee Kentucky teams, same
Yes.
state basically.
No, what?
Basically, they were the
Just
champions of the
Kentucky are the same state.
Yeah, basically.
Chile, right?
No, what are you guys talking about? It's literally 2 different states.
Missouri, Murray State's a win. Buffalo's a win. Boston College is a win. That's at home. Vandy is a win. At A&M is a win. UMass is a win. Auburn at home, homecoming.
That's always a good
is
game.
a win.
Yeah, that's a win.
At Alabama, I'll give Alabama their due. Miles McVay, St. Louis playing for them. Oklahoma at home, that's a W for the Tigers.
So?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's going to be a really good game.
It'll be a good game, but Missouri will win it. And then at South Carolina, that's a win. At Mississippi State, that's a win. And Arkansas at home, that's
This
a win.
is a really good schedule for MSU.
Pretty easy schedule.
It is 11-1
for Missouri.
So I'm going to take it. I'm all in. I'm all in.
I'll leave it. They might win 2. They might lose 2. I think Oklahoma's going to be a tough one. And at Texas A&M, I don't know what they're going to do or what they're going to look like, but going there with all those
Missouri doesn't lose to Texas
fans
A&M.
that they have.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
The 12th man and
I think Missouri's handled A&M okay.
The cheer. What are they? Cheer coaches? What are they called?
Oh, the
cheer.
Cheerleaders.
They're not cheerleaders.
I know. I just wanted to
cheer something.
Yell captains or something.
Yell
captains. Yell leaders.
Good.
They're very
Those guys are intense.
Stupid overalls. No one in overalls yelling at me at a football game is really that intimidating.
They are intense.
Yeah,
I've been down there. So Giannis scored 64 points last night and was very frustrated at the end of the game because the Pacers assistant coach took the game ball. Oscar Tshiebwe scored his first bucket as a professional basketball player, so they wanted to give the ball to him. Take it or leave it. Giannis should have actually signed the ball and let that young man have the ball.
Totally take it.
Yeah. Signed 64 points. You have the ball, man. I've scored a ton of points, won championships. Going to be a Hall of Famer one day. It's your first bucket. There you go.
You can't take the chance of him to hand that ball to his kid and say it. And on that night, me and Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 66 points.
Well, there's the thing called the intranets. So you can
the
Google,
internet.
You can Google on the internet machine. Daddy, you're a liar. I said we scored 66 points, son.
Oh,
Didn't say
man.
he scored 64 and I scored 2.
Take it or leave it, guys. I just have a feeling, and look, I want a really good response from Jordan Kyrou because we've talked about him so much here after this firing. Take it or leave it, Jordan Kyrou is going to score maybe 2 goals tonight.
Leave it.
Leave it.
No?
No.
Okay, how about a goal the next few games, next 3 games?
I'll take that.
How about that
You
one?
know what I think?
A goal a game for the next 3 games.
If these players come out and have the same look, the same energy, the same vibe, you can go ahead and start preparing your trips for May.
Yeah,
get your
get your
itinerary
tea times ready.
Yeah.
Cancun.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah, guys. Okay, one more quick one from me.
That's
The
true.
Blues have a pregame skate at 10:30 today at Enterprise Center before they take on the Senators tonight. Take it or leave it. That's when Jordan Kyrou finds out there's been a coaching change.
Randy, no!
What's going on, guys?
Who's that?
What the hell is this? What's going on here? Where's Chief? Listen,
I think you're giving him credit.
honestly, if he were that now, I told y'all, superstars they don't know what in the world is going on.
Yep.
So if he has that, then he's a superstar. He's one of those guys, and he will score. He'll score 4 goals.
I think you guys are giving him a little too much credit. I think post practice he just goes, "Why? I didn't get yelled at very much today." Anybody see Chief?
Just oblivious.
During the mid-'80s, during the big Cardinals-Mets rivalry, they had a pitcher named Sid Fernandez. And, well, I don't know if this is any reason to not know, but he lived in Hawaii during the offseason, from Hawaii. But he shows up in spring training, and the Mets have made a major trade. They got the biggest acquisition of the offseason. They get Kevin McReynolds. And Sid Fernandez goes to Keith Hernandez and says, "Who's that guy?" And Hernandez says, that's Mac. That's Kevin McReynolds. And he said, he doesn't play for us. He plays for the Padres.
That's amazing. I just want to see with Jordan Kyrou. Look, after you have this many people talking about you, you should have a great response where you go and score multiple goals in a game tonight. Where you go score a goal a game, because that should be the response to at least some ways and make you feel better about this.
Take it or leave it. The Blues will not be a legitimate contender until the next crop of young players develops. I'm talking 5 years.
Ooh, I'm going to leave
That's
that.
a long time.
Yeah.
I said 2025.
Yeah.
You get those young fellas.
Yeah.
You just gotta play harder, man. Like that.
Yep.
That's your job. I don't understand why anybody would have to quit. Randy, they've been listening to you. You might
Don't
be
give
at fault.
100% because then they'll expect it. Yep.
You might be at fault.
Yep. I might be.
We found the root of the issue here.
One more. Take it or leave it. The Blues are about to fall back to the era between 2003 and 2008.
Oh, don't say it. Don't say it.
This is the most negative take it or leave it I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I wasn't here during that time. I was out of state. What was it like? I was actually in Pittsburgh watching really good hockey.
Carey.
That was a great era for Pittsburgh.
You want the essence of it? Here's the essence of that era of Blues hockey. To get people to come to the games, they gave away free food.
Free food?
Free food.
Grow with us.
Yep.
Come grow with
At
us.
the concession? Like they
At the
gave
concessions,
they gave free food.
They had free food days. Yep.
Oh my
Like even on Saturday
that's
nights.
bad.
That was bad. Yeah.
Even on
Please
Saturday night?
show up.
Yep. It was. That's what it was. Yeah. It was bad. We had a goalie named 0506, Patrick Lalime. Poor guy. He was just under siege. But here's the thing: they had traded Pronger. They didn't. Everybody hated Eric Brewer, the captain, because they had traded Pronger for him, and they just were not good. They just did, and they went out and signed a free agent, Paul Correa, and he was never healthy. It was horrible. It was really bad. It was bad hockey, and nobody showed up.
That's free food. You got me there. I'd have been there.
Yeah, well, I was. Believe me, I was. Yeah, free food. We remember that. Hey, thanks very much for your texts. We do appreciate them. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, there's one reporter who thinks that the Berube firing by the Blues came later than they wish it would have. That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, the holidays are here, and if you're having a party here in the next couple of days and you need something fixed, you need to get in touch with my friends at Hoffman Brothers Heating, Cooling, plus electrical and plumbing and everything else. Everything that you need done at your home, Hoffman Brothers can help with, whether it's replacing or fixing outlets, lighting to your whole home electrical panel, and don't forget about those appliances, your refrigerators and ovens, stoves, dishwashers, microwaves, and more. Hoffman Brothers can help you out. They're an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, and they'll provide you with customized comfort solutions for any room in your home. Here's what you need to do. Call them up today and make an appointment, 314-664-3011, 314-664-3011, or go to HoffmanBros.com and make sure, by the way, when you have everything checked out, that you get your furnace checked out. You don't want to have your furnace breaking down during the cold winter here in St. Louis. So Hoffman Brothers will come out, take a look at it, and tell you exactly what needs to be done, if anything needs to be done, and you will have complete confidence in your system. Make that appointment today at HoffmanBros.com or call 314-664-3011.
You hire Craig Berube as the interim guy. Your team goes on to win the Stanley Cup. You feel like you have to keep him. And I was never entirely sold that as long as this run has been, that Craig Berube was really Doug Armstrong's guy that he wanted in that position for the long term.
That is Frank Saravalli from the Daily Faceoff. It's coming up on 8:08 in St. Louis. 2-1. Woof. 8:08. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler.
She's never heard that.
No,
one.
that's how you give the official time at the top of the hour or top of the minute. Woof. Yeah. It's an old Jack Buck thing. So anyway, it's 8:08. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Do you buy what Frank Saravalli just said there? That he's of the belief that the reason that Berube was here is because he was winning, but he really wasn't Army's guy. I kind of buy into that.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, I think maybe he wasn't when you let Mike Yeo go and you brought him in, and maybe you said, we'll see how this goes. Oh, we won a championship. That changes the mindset. You may not have thought that prior to winning, but once you win, okay, this guy's a Stanley Cup champion. We have to keep him around. He's done a great job. And then he had some good years after that. So I think when you're looking at maybe what you wanted versus what you got, I don't think Doug Armstrong would trade that for anything. The fact that Craig Berube did a really good job here, won the first championship ever in the history of the organization. You have to be respectful and thankful for what he did. I just think this timing of this firing was based on what he's seen over the last few months and a team that when you're playing, you heard him talk about it, when other teams are on a back-to-back and the Blues are after a day off and you go in there and you lose that game. That's why I said it doesn't matter that everyone plays the same schedule. You are the excuses of, it's the back-to-back, we're tired, we had to travel. That's every team is going through that. So this team just has not been receiving the message from Craig Berube. So you hope that the message of him being fired lights a fire under some butts and seats, and they are playing really well tonight and from here on.
That's what you at least hope, but I think it's interesting because is the NHL just kind of like college football where the turnover is just expected at this point and it happens really quickly because who is
all sports?
It is all sports because we're in a microwave society, but it's specifically in the NHL. I'm sure for all the head coaches, they know, okay, once I kind of hit this year mark, I know that I will not be probably here much longer, right? Because that's what it's turned into. Who is the longest tenured coach in the NHL right now?
It's got to be John Cooper, right?
Yeah.
In Tampa?
Yeah. But the turnover is so expected
ridiculous.
now.
It is crazy. Now, one of the aspects of yesterday was to talk about the competitiveness of this particular team because we've talked about how the Blues said we want to be middle third, and they are middle third, yet they fired the coach. This is Doug Armstrong on whether he still believes this Blues team can be competitive.
Well, I think that we have a higher level. I think we're a better team than our play indicates. I don't know if we're a better team than our record indicates. I really don't. But I know we're a better team than our play indicates. And I think those ebbs and flows are what I'm looking to minimize. And then, you know what? If we're not good enough, we're not good enough. But arrogance, ignorance, I can't believe that anyone could put up those last three rosters that we played on our rosters and think we should lose all three of those games.
So he believes that they can play better, but still not win the game. That's what I take out of that. And Berube, I guess if he would have lost 3-2 to Columbus rather than 5-2, or 2-1 to Chicago rather than 3-1, if it would have been a more competitive Blues team, then Berube would have had more of an opportunity to stick.
So that's basically him saying that this roster is not elite, which is what Tom Stillman said, but should look more competitive against middling and lower level teams. That's what he's essentially saying there, right? But it goes back to my question that I'm saying earlier, and it's the big question of the day is, who is the coach that is going to get more out of this group? In my opinion, Craig Berube was the epitome of, if you could have like a textbook, this is what a head coach should be. He's very disciplined. He really preached hard work ethic out of his players and really pushed them hard on that. Isn't that essentially what you look for in a head coach? And it just has to be that his message, in Armstrong's opinion, we're not getting through to the players anymore.
I think there's no one coming to save them. I think that they are who they are Armstrong said also, there are guys that could have a goal and assist and think they played a great game in a 5-3 loss. And that's not the measuring stick of a great game. Yeah, you had a goal, you had an assist, you did your part to a degree, but it's not the total of what we need. And so I don't think that there's anyone. The only person that can save them is them.
It's in the room.
It's in the room. It's the players. It is not about a voice or a person coming in and drawing. Every team runs the same plays, and also they do the same thing. It's just different versions of it. It's called something different. How you work at it is different, but it's all of the same things. And so having another person in that room doesn't matter if the people in that room don't change their mindset. And that's the ultimate thing. They have to change how they go about their day.
Exactly.
That is today's Fresh Take here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, more Blues with Hall of Famer Bernie Federko, who joins us every Friday Eve, and he will next on 101 ESPN. I am such a fan of Massage Envy. I go every single month. And if you're looking for that perfect gift for that perfect someone in your life, a Massage Envy gift card is the way to go. Give them the gift of me time, Massage Envy time, with a gift card from Massage Envy. And they can get a facial or a stretch or a massage. And now through the end of the year, when you buy $100 in gift cards, you're going to get a free $20 promo code to keep yourself or add to someone's gift. Massage Envy, it's a great place to get the perfect holiday gift. It's where better begins.
St. Louis Blues as we head into the Blues Booth. Presented by Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, a proud partner of your St. Louis Blues. Find your perfect new floor at our 4 convenient locations and online at boardwalkhardwood.com.
Brooke, Carey, and Randy, and we always enjoy our Thursday visits with our friend Bernie Federko, the Hockey Hall of Famer and analyst on Bally Sports Midwest. Blues and Ottawa Senators tonight, 6 o'clock pregame, 7 o'clock face-off here on 101 ESPN and on Bally Sports. Good morning, Bernie. How you doing?
Good morning, Randy. I'm doing fine.
It's great to have you with us. By the way, you weren't with us last week. Did you get a little trip in?
I was out in Arizona, played a little golf, and got some sunshine. So it was kind of nice.
Love it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, of course, we have to talk to you about everything that has happened with Craig Berube and his firing. What was your initial reaction when you found out?
Well, Brooke, it was, I think, like everybody else, I was quite surprised. I did not see that coming. I mean, the Blues obviously, have been struggling as of late, but they've been inconsistent the whole season. So I think, like everybody else, I think we were quite surprised that something happened, I guess, this early. Blues game below 500. But, it is the nature of the business. When things are not going the right way, a lot of times general managers do make the decision on moving the coach or replacing the coach. And Doug Armstrong, as he talked about yesterday, he just felt that was the direction that he needed to go.
Bernie, you have been on a few teams that the coach was changed midseason. What was that like in that dressing room, and how did that change for the rest of the season for you all?
Well, it's always kind of comes as a shock for the most part, Carey. I mean, you don't expect, you work for the person that is the coach at the time, and you see, when something like that happens, I mean, I think everybody kind of looks in the mirror and says, hey. Obviously, things have to get better around here. When you see someone lose their job, you know that you're partly responsible for it. And I think that everybody on this team right now is probably feeling that way. Is that I'm sure that no one wanted to see get dismissed, and so it's one of those things is that we've got to be better. Otherwise, more changes are going to come. And everybody likes the position that they're in right now. I mean, you want to be comfortable, you want to win, you want to have a great disposition. You want to have a smile on your face every day that when you come to the rink. And, when you're winning, it's easy that way. But when you're losing and things like this happen, I think that, you just all have to reevaluate yourselves. You have to look in the mirror and you have to start, making things better. Otherwise, more changes are going to keep coming. And that's kind of just the way I'm sure the guys are looking at it. That's the way we always looked at it. It happened a couple of times in my career. And, you have to now all of a sudden you're under the microscope. You're having somebody else evaluate you, and I think that everybody. I mean, we're seeing it happen right now. I mean, Edmonton has won 8 in a row now since the coaching change. Minnesota has played much better, so that's kind of what happens. And I think in the way the league is right now, with all the leagues now, is that it's hard to move players, it's hard to trade players, it's hard. There's caps in place, there's no trade clauses, and unfortunately for the coaches, I think they're the ones that are the easiest ones to make changes with, because they're under contract, and you fire them, you don't have to do it. There's no consequences. It's kind of a crazy thing.
Bernie Federko started his Hall of Fame hockey career coming up with the Blues in 76, 77, and you have been associated with the Blues pretty much ever since. Pop quiz, Bernie. I want you to take a shot at this. Drew Bannister is coach number what since you came up with the Blues the first time? Take a guess.
Well, you know what? I just read that. 27th. Am I right?
That's a lot of coaches. That's a lot of coaches.
That is a lot. You know what? It is a lot of coaches in 50. What is it? 55 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It is a lot of coaches. But you know what? It's a tough business being a coach, and I think we've always talked about that. When you get hired as a coach, you're going to get fired eventually. There's no one lasts forever, and it's a strange thing. And when you looked at. And especially with Craig was the 5th most tenured coach in the league when he was let go yesterday. I mean, and he's only been here 5 years, so it's a very volatile business, I guess, and it's very unfortunate for the coaches. But I think Craig a great coach, great guy. He's gonna be fine. I mean, he's gonna get hired by somebody else because he's just. I mean, hey, we'll always look at Chief as the guy that brought the Stanley Cup to St. Louis, and I don't think that anybody can ever change that.
Well, Bernie, now the search begins for the Blues' new head coach as Bannister steps in. What kind of coach, we were talking about this earlier, what kind of coach will get the most out of all these players right now?
You know, Brooke, I don't know. I mean, I think that's kind of an experiment right now. I mean, obviously, Drew's coming in as the coach that wants to be, you know, not just the interim coach. He wants to prove that he can be the coach. I mean, it's an opportunity for him to coach in the National Hockey League. So I don't know what his coaching style is. I mean, he's been successful in the minors, and I mean, it's not much difference. I mean, it's how you deal with players, how you, you know, is he going to change his system, or what is the system, and how the guy's going to react? You know what, that's so hard to know, you know, exactly what kind of coach is going to get the most out of it. But I think it's like, one thing is that the guys will all look in the mirror right now, and as I just said, is they have to reevaluate each one of them, and they, you know, obviously they've got to, you know, come together as a team and say, hey, we need to be better, and I think that everybody understands that. I think this is always a shock to the system when a coaching change is made. I mean, now they go, okay, this is for real now. Something did happen now. So I don't know what exactly has to happen, but I think that, you know, Army talked a lot about, you know, the guys have got to obviously, you know, come together. They've got to, you know, make sure that they're playing for each other, and you know, accountability he kept using. So, I mean, whatever that means is that, you know, the guys have got to play better for each other. They've got to be certainly better defensively. They give them way too many goals. I mean, they've got to get the power play going. There's a lot of things, little things that need to be better so that they can be better on the big picture.
Bernie, in the past week, we've heard Braden Shin, the captain, talk about effort and energy and pulling guys to the fight. You've seen Craig Berube fired. You heard Armstrong talking about nobody should feel safe in our group, and Jordan Bennington coming out saying the pride that you have in wearing the blue note. You know, you should have pride in that in practice and in games. If you're a teammate in that dressing room, in that locker room, and you're looking at some of the guys on the team that they're talking about, what are those conversations you're having with that player or players that they're speaking of?
Well, I don't think he's pointing fingers at anybody. I think he's pointing fingers at everybody. You know, I think that, as I said, you have to reevaluate yourself. You have to look in the mirror and say, what can I do more? And I think that each individual player on the team has to do that and say, hey, I can do more. Obviously, they all feel that they can do more. Otherwise, if they were doing more, maybe they'd be winning more games, and they wouldn't be in a position where Craig was fired. So I think it's just a matter of doing more and you know, making sure you're not blaming the other guy that's sitting next to you or across from you. Is everybody's got to, you know, everybody has a job to do on the ice, and you know, whether you're a checker or you're a scorer or you're a power play special or a specialist or a penalty killer. You know what, or a fighter or whatever you are. I mean, I think everybody, you put together a team, everybody, you know, is in a role. And I think that if everybody does the job that they're supposed to do in their role, obviously that's when the team becomes a better team. And I mean, you know, a team is still a group of individuals that just comes together as a team. And I think that each individual has to be better at what their job is. And if they can do that, I think that they'll come together and they'll play certainly much better. And you know what, how good are they? We're not sure yet. I mean, we've seen glimpses of a really good hockey team, and then we've seen glimpses of a really bad hockey team. So I think that they still need to find the identity of what they are, and certainly, you know, hopefully it's going to be something that is going to be good and challenge for a playoff spot, because that's Army said that all along. Maybe that's not going to be the best team in the league this year, but if they can get into the playoffs, and you never know what could happen. You get some key injuries for you, against you, and many things could happen. And, you know, we all look back to 2019. The Blues were 3 games below 500 in January, and they ended up winning the Stanley Cup. So, I mean, it's a crazy game, and anything can happen. But you you've got to get everybody on the same page.
And Bernie, I was going to reference 2019 as well, because thank goodness the Blues won Game 7. When you look at where the Blues are right now, and you look at what happened to, for example, Dallas after they lost to Tampa Bay. They've stayed good, but they haven't been back to the finals. Nashville loses to Pittsburgh in 2017. They haven't been back. San Jose loses to Pittsburgh. The Rangers lost to the Kings. It's such a fragile thing. It's such a hard championship to win. Thank goodness the Blues won Game 7 in Boston.
I would agree 100%. I mean, that's how hard. I mean, Toronto hasn't won since 1967, you know, and they've had a pretty good run themselves. But, yeah, it's very, very difficult, you know, to win those 16 games in the playoffs. And, I mean, I think I always look back, and even we're going back to that, as I read, he said, I mean, COVID really screwed the Blues out of, you know, getting an opportunity to repeat, because they were a great team, and all of a sudden we had COVID, and they went into that bubble at Edmonton, and I mean, that was a total different story. I mean, they could have defended the title that year, and unfortunately, you know, it's timing. It's just the way things happen. So, you know, there is teams that obviously are looking to, you know, be the Stanley Cup champs. There's favorites, but you know what? You have to get everything fall into place. You have to get a good goaltending. You got to stay away from some, you know, key injuries and this and that, and if it all comes together, you know, you're winning the Stanley Cup. But it certainly is a difficult thing to do.
Bernie, thanks so much for the time. We'll be tuned in tonight. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, you guys. You guys have a great day.
See you later. That is the Hall of Famer, Bernie Fedorko, joining us as he does every Thursday here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, Matthew needs a fighter, I would think, for the fight. All you need to do is text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. You need to text in and just use your name in the word fight. Maybe Matthew will pick you to fight me next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Carey, and if you are suffering from cold air in your home, maybe the furnace is kicking in, but it isn't keeping the house as warm as it needs to be, you probably need new windows, and Window Nation has a perfect deal for you, and right now is the right time to get it done. They are offering 50% off of all window styles, plus you can get 0% interest for up to 5 years with new energy-efficient windows from Window Nation. You'll start saving money instantly on your heating bills, and you'll get rid of those annoying cold drafts letting the heat out. And in the summer, they'll keep the cold air in, so you'll save money all year long. Plus, Window Nation's professional installation means that your windows will fit right and your home will be treated with care. With 50% of windows, with 50% off of all window styles and 0% interest for 5 years, it's time to give Window Nation a look today. Let them show you all of the options that fit your needs and your budget. It's easy. Just simply call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com to get started. That's 866-90-NATION or visit them online at windownation.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues are back in action tonight facing off against the Ottawa Senators. 7 p.m. puck drop means a 6 p.m. pregame show right here on ESPN. And, of course, it is the first Blues game with a new interim head coach, Drew Bannister, taking over for Craig Berube behind the bench. Also in sports news last night, or yesterday afternoon, I should say, Draymond Green was suspended indefinitely by the NBA following his 4th different suspension in the year 2023. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Karraker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Eric. Eric, how you doing?
I am doing wonderful, CD. How are you?
I'm doing great. You ready to take on Randy Karraker? These two are cracking up over here. What the heck is going on?
He just said the most humble thing I've ever heard in my entire
Can't say
life.
anything without getting criticized. Unbelievable.
Criticize. All right, Eric, you ready to take on Randy? These two are. We'll be professionals here.
Let's rock and roll.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Cowboys edge rusher Micah Parsons joined this Hall of Famer as the only players to ever post 12.5 plus sacks in their first 3 seasons. Is it Bruce Smith, Reggie White, or Lawrence Taylor?
Reggie White.
On this day in 2021, Steph Curry became the all-time three-point king with almost 3,000 made. Who did he pass to take the top spot? Was it Ray Allen, Jason Terry, or Reggie Miller?
Reggie Miller.
Which current NFL star holds the record for largest margin in their Heisman Trophy victory with over 800 first-place votes? Is it Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, or Lamar Jackson?
I'm going to go Lamar Jackson.
How many seasons is the longest playoff drought in Blues history? Is it 3, 4, or 5?
I believe it is 3.
All right, we're going to jug our score, and we'll bring in Randy Karraker.
Eric, how you feeling?
I'm great. The sun's up. Having a good time.
Sound like you're on the road. You're driving, seatbelt on, hands at 10 and 2?
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm just commuting back to St. Louis for work.
All righty. Bluetooth. I hope we're using the Bluetooth and we have our eyes on the road as we drive. Randy
Absolutely.
is there you go. That's what we're talking about here. Randy, say hello to Eric.
Eric, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Randy. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderfully. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks for playing. We appreciate it.
You bet.
All right, Randy.
Yes, sir.
Cowboys edge rusher Micah Parsons joined this Hall of Famer as the only players to ever post 12.5 plus sacks in their first 3 seasons.
Is this according to Pro Football Reference?
This might be, I don't know. Hopefully it's when sacks actually became a stat.
It is since
Alan, was it Alan Page?
Okay.
Alan, yeah.
Okay, so
not Deacon Jones.
Not Deacon Jones.
There you
That
go.
was okay.
That was your question. You was making sure. Okay, not Deacon Jones.
Okay, did you guys, with no sports on last night, did you watch the Reggie White 30 for 30?
Saw a little bit of it.
Man, it's really good.
I gotta sit down and watch it. Yeah.
It was on last night.
It was.
Yeah. So I am going to go, because I watched last night, with Reggie White.
Okay. He had no clue.
He's so upset. On this day in 2021, Steph Curry became the all-time three-point king with almost 3,000 made. Who did he pass to take the top spot?
I'm going to say Ray Allen.
Which current NFL star holds the record for the largest margin in their Heisman Trophy victory with over 800 first-place votes?
A little lifeline.
Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson.
going to go Joe Burrow.
How many seasons is the longest playoff drought in Blues history?
I believe, Brooke, that they, in that that free food time.
Oh, yeah.
Free food.
Great. What a time to be alive.
I think they missed the. I think they missed the playoffs 3 consecutive years. They had it's still the second longest run in the history of hockey. They had a 25-year run where they made the playoffs. But I think that was it. The 3-year run when they were giving away free food. So I'm going to go with 3. The number of the day is 3.
Well, can the number of the day for Randy Karraker be 4? Because this would be his 4th win this week on a Thursday. Or is Eric going to mess with that perfect record and take home a victory today? Ring that bell.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Karraker.
Oh, you know what I did? I messed up. I wasn't prepared. I didn't think I was going to win. That was all aboard the panic bus.
Oh. You should have looked over at me because I was not sweating. Eric, I'm sorry. Randy Karraker takes you down, and he hit the jack on this one. He beat you 4-2.
Not bad. Good job, Randy.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, and appreciate you checking in and participating with us today.
Absolutely. You guys take care. Have a great holiday.
You too.
Thanks. You too.
We don't get a lot of people who congratulate Randy for their wins, but congratulations on that one.
Oh, thank you.
From Eric.
You really didn't know
nice.
that the Reggie White...
I did not know it debuted last night.
Okay.
That question was actually sitting on yesterday's fight, and then I replaced it with the more pertinent Blues trivia questions that we did yesterday with the coaches and the firings and stuff like that. So that was actually sitting there since Wednesday because it happened over the weekend with the Cowboys when Parsons got his 12.5 sack. By the way, the correct answer on that one is, of course, Reggie White, who got 20 sacks in his 3rd season and opened it with 15 and 13 prior to that. Bruce Smith just missed out on this one. Lawrence Taylor took a little bit longer to get going.
Oh, by the way, Reggie White just killed the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, he really messed up Neil Lomax.
Randy, I saw Reggie White take Chris Carter with one arm and literally throw him.
It's in the doc.
Whoever decided that Chris Carter should block Reggie White, he should have did.
He literally, with one hand, and threw him at Warren Moon and sacked him.
Yes.
Chris Carter says, I should have a half sack in my career.
I saw that quote pop up yesterday. Now I understand why the quote's popping up. For me, it's still the move on the right tackle for the Patriots. The club move under his shoulder, and he just sends a 300-man flying in the biggest game of the year.
Unreal.
This day in 2001, Steph Curry became the all-time three-point king with 3,000 made. Who did he pass to take the top spot? It was, in fact, Ray Allen. The current NFL star who holds the largest margin of victory in Heisman Trophy history was Joe Burrow when he got 841 first-place votes. He killed it. And how many seasons is the longest playoff drought in Blues history? The lockout happened in 04-05, and then the Blues missed the playoffs in 05-06, 06-07, 07-08, and it was quite a tortured fan base not having to go 3 full seasons without the playoffs there. So a 4-2 victory for Randy in the fight today.
So that is cool how Joe Burrow killed it. Another Heisman Trophy winner, O.J. Simpson.
No,
I knew that.
Allegedly.
Randy,
I felt it was coming.
If he did
I was wondering where this was, what turn this was taking, and here we are.
Oh, man.
All right.
He's on TikTok.
The Juice is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He is trying to redo his.
Well, you know, he's into the new thing. He's cutting edge.
Randy, no. You know what? I was talking to some guys. This is a true story. Some old 49ers, right? That played in the 80s and early 90s, and they said, when OJ, this is before all of that, obviously, but when he would go into a place in L.A., like you could have Magic there, you could have all these other superstars. When OJ came in, the room, like, it just stopped.
Really?
Everyone was like, that's Juice.
Yep.
He was the celebrity of all celebrities.
He had it all going. He was in movies.
Yeah.
He was.
Don't you remember that Dave Chappelle skit about O.J. Simpson running into him at the restaurant?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But that was after the incident that supposedly happened. Allegedly. Then we got to throw that in there.
Speaking of funny stuff, Michael Yo, comedian, going to be at the Funny Bone in, actually tonight, and he is standing out in the hallway, and he's going to join us next on 101 ESPN. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN with Brooke Grimsley and Super Bowl champ Carey Davis. I'm Randy Karraker. Good to have you with us. The other day on our show text, our producer, Matthew Rocchio, sent a text that said, do we want Michael Yo in studio on Thursday for a segment? And I said, sure. I always enjoyed him when he was the coach of the Blues. Michael, you're a comedian.
Yeah, but you fired me. You fired me. You want to stay in the cup and see what happens? See what happens? You just fired the guy that replaced me. So I'm back. I'm back to take my job back. I'm here for an interview. The comedian Michael Yo is going to take over the Blues. That's what's happening.
The very funny Michael Yo joining us in studio, and he's at the Funny Bone tonight.
Tonight, one show. Friday, 2 shows, and then Saturday, 2 shows.
Good to see you. How's everything going?
Man, it's great. This is my last stop. I always like to end in St. Louis. It's great. I get a month off after that, and then I shoot a special coming up in a couple months. So, yeah, I'm excited about everything, you know.
Okay,
I go to Emo's, eat that garbage pizza. It's great. It's great.
Garbage pizza.
Garbage.
Oh, man.
Government cheese pizza. Emo's. Government cheese pizza.
Government cheese.
Oh, it's horrible. It's
What is
horrible.
government
How do you
cheese
put
pizza?
that in your mouth? I don't understand that.
What is government cheese pizza?
That.
That?
You
Yeah.
ever had Emo's?
Oh, I have. I'm not from here originally, so I experienced it for the first time, too.
Did you like it?
Yes, of course.
You did? Oh, yeah, because you're on the radio station. I can say that. I love everything St. Louis because I can't say it's trash. It is garbage.
So I've said this before. You have to go. There are certain emos that are absolutely no. They are no. Listen, stop.
They have different cheese.
They have. It just tastes different. So some of them are.
That's
terrible.
what my friend said. It's just going to taste different.
One of them, the one on Hampton, is really good. That's the original one, correct?
Yeah.
That one is really good. So if you, but there are some that I'm like, oh, I don't want this here anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm from St. Louis, and so there are. I can tell you with 100% certainty, some emos are better than others.
Okay,
so
I will. Whatever I'm in the Westport area, whatever one is in Westport area.
Yeah, that one I don't know.
It's not good.
I don't know.
It's not
I
good.
haven't had that one.
You
But
gotta
the
know
one
this
on
too.
Hampton is
Okay.
delightful.
I'm just scared that if I go to one, they're gonna poison me. So I may not be able to
likelihood is
pick it up
high.
yourself.
Yeah, I'll get my friends to pick it up for me. All right, Hampton. Emos on a Hampton, I'm giving you a try.
Yeah, they have their own cheese factory. They make their own cheese.
Yeah, I can tell. I didn't think that was done well, so I figured they just made this at home.
Cheese factory. So bad.
Michael, you played football at Arkansas.
I did.
Ooh,
I
you
miss you.
pick.
No, because you know what? I played a year and a half, got too many concussions, couldn't play anymore, right? So I played against Peyton Manning. Well, I don't want to say I played. I was on I ran out on the field and then he threw 15 touchdowns against us. So, but no, I was kind of like just a lower level football player because I got too many concussions. I pulled a hamstring, a lot of things. But no, I don't hate any school. I don't even like Arkansas anymore because my dreams died there. You know what I mean? Like my dream was to be a football player and it died there. So now I've always liked the University of Miami. I'm a huge Miami Hurricanes fan. We've been horrible for the last 20 years. But Mario Cristobal, you better turn this around. I'm ready. Okay.
He just has to get the timing right, you know?
No, you just need to get paying
all
the
the
players.
timeouts right.
Victory formation. How
Call the timeouts right. Hey, take a knee, man. Do what you need to do. What are we doing? Just take a knee. What are you trying to prove? I'm sorry.
Why you hurting me like that?
I love football. And to see that,
Miami was 8-4. Cristobal was 7-5 this year. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I lived in Arkansas for a little bit working there.
We'll pick Tui.
What was that experience like?
Racist.
Can you still call the Hawks?
It was so racist. Let me tell you, because I'm much older than you. Like when I was there, they gave us.
Just want to clarify, I'm not from there. I just worked there, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You asked me what the racist. It was great inside the campus.
Yeah.
As soon as you left that campus,
my
boy,
God.
like, hey, how you doing, boy? You know, it's like, whoa.
It was a different world, right?
It was. I had a scooter. Like all the football team had scooters because we bought them on our own.
Yeah.
And,
in the 90s.
In the 90s,
sure.
We all bought the same
SEC.
scooter.
Exactly, yeah.
We all had white scooters with the pig
that
logo.
you all purchased
it.
I know you did.
I went into the store.
I'm sure.
I was like, here's money and my name. Anyway, so we all had these scooters. And my scooter broke down. And I tried to get it fixed. And I took it to this way. And it was literally 10 minutes outside the school. They didn't even take my scooter. They did not take my scooter. The coach had to go take my scooter.
Wow.
So that's how, but the campus life is crazy.
It's Fayetteville's beautiful, but I know what you're talking about. Where you get out, because I had to work in Fort Smith. Did you ever have to go anywhere? Yeah, exactly.
But
you see, I was forced to go there
let me tell
sometimes.
you, what was great about campus life, they didn't have a lot of Black and Asian dudes. Oh man, white women tried me out, man. They were like, "What is this?" They were like, "He's a starter black. We can start with him." And it was great.
Oh my God,
it was great. They tried. Oh man, they used and abused. They didn't know what I was. I was like an alien out there. They were like, "What is this kind of dude?" It was great. It was great.
Oh,
Michael, I want to know, you obviously been doing comedy for a long time and have paid attention to the history of comedy. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of comedians?
Well, I mean, Richard Pryor.
Okay.
First of all, Richard Pryor and I hate to offend people, but wasn't really a Carlin fan because when I got to know him, he was just angry.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't really researched his the back catalog. Eddie Murphy, I grew up, watched him. But I mean, now it's Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, got a lot of friends like Jim Jeffries. I like watching. But it's kind of like what I love about comedy that's different than anything. When you first start comedy, you think, I got to be funny to everyone. Yeah. And then the more seasoned you get, you're like, no, I just got to be funny to the people that like me. Because that's where you get coming to watch. That's who's coming to watch because there's this misconception where I got to be funny. Nobody, like I've heard people say they don't like Bill Burr. I've heard people say they don't like Dave Chappelle. So you got to find your own people. Yeah. You know, it's like a radio show. You got to find your own people.
You would fit right in here at this station, by the way. Our afternoon show puts 5 on Mount Rushmore, too. So,
yeah.
we just did.
Ultra fast lane. Yes. Oh my gosh! And you're going to be a part of a Netflix comedy
So
special.
I'm part of their Netflix.
That's really exciting.
It's huge for me. It's a Netflix festival. I'm on day 3 Saturday, which is a big night. So it's everything. Take baby steps, you get a pop. Baby steps, baby steps, get a pop. And I'm getting a pop from that. And I'm excited about it because now you're on Netflix. Anybody that makes that festival, you're on their radar now. Right. And the goal is to actually get a Netflix festival soon.
Isn't Tom Brady?
It's a special.
Oh, sorry. Isn't Tom Brady a part of this?
He's going to get roasted.
Yeah, are you going to be a part of that?
No, I don't roast people. I don't know, man. I don't like talking bad about people. I like talking bad about things, but not people. Your pizza, I'll talk all day bad about that. But people, I don't know. I'm a karma guy. Even though it's jokes, some of them get serious and people get mad.
Oh, they do get upset. Do you ever feel when you're on a show with multiple artists and multiple comedians, do you ever feel pressure to outperform the guys either before or after you?
No, because I don't do those shows.
Okay.
Because I'm not, I know my strengths. My strengths are going on a show and being able to tell stories and have fun. My strength is not, I'm going to outdo you, you're going to outdo. I'm not that kind of comedian. And in most of those talk shows, they're more roasters. Yeah. I'm not a roaster. So I don't like to just be negative, you know, even though it sounds like half this interview I've been negative. But it's not really me.
Or honest.
Honest. Yeah, but I won't purposely say a mean joke to somebody to try to get, a reaction from
Someone from the 636 said they've lived in Little Rock for the last 2 years. It's not that bad anymore.
They said Little Rock.
Yeah.
I lived in Fayetteville. Little Rock is different. Little Rock got a lot of black people. I don't know if you know, Little Rock is hood. Okay.
So it was a special on that.
University of Arkansas crushes your dreams. How long after that did you decide to get into comedy?
You know what's interesting? And you got a Super Bowl ring, but I don't know if you went through this. It takes a couple years because this is something you work for all your life, and mine was taken away. And you don't get the cheers anymore. You go into a bit of depression of what am I going to do next? And because you're almost like a warrior, right? And when you step into that, you're like, you get it. And then when you're not, you're like, oh, you're a used to person. Oh, you used to play. You used to do. I used to love watching you, you know. And then it's kind of hard to accept that, you're past. Like you're living, but you're still past. Yeah. I don't know if you went through that, but
I tell people, for me, when I retired, it was like the girlfriend that I had my entire life. She loved me, I loved her, and then she stopped calling. Yeah. And then I could see her dating somebody younger and more handsome and stronger, and it's like, what about me? You loved me. And she doesn't love me no more. She doesn't answer, and it's like, it's hard to watch her go on with someone else while I'm sitting here like, I can still be the guy you need me to be.
Like I said, I wasn't on your level, but I would imagine, it's so crazy. Like if you're like a Michael Jordan. Everybody's compared to him, right? And that must be hard to take because you can't defend yourself. Right. And there's an ego when you play a sport that, oh, man, this is all about me. Yeah. But then when it's not about you, you're like, oh, they still fine. Oh, they good. They good. They don't. Oh, okay. I'm going to just go in this corner and cry.
Michael Yo at the Funny Bone at Westport tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. You can follow him on YouTube, by the way, at Michael Yo. That's Y-O, not Y-E-O. That's a different guy.
Yeah, that's the one y'all don't like.
Yeah, no.
Did he ever wind up anywhere?
He was an assistant in Philly for a while, and then they all bounce around in the NHL.
They bounce around, yeah. See, I live in Vegas, so we got the Knights. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been to the Knights game, but it's unbelievable. I don't even like hockey.
It's amazing.
It's
like a party atmosphere.
Bro. Really.
Yeah.
Like it's like a nightclub.
I had to go check.
They have showgirls there.
They got showgirls. They got show dudes. They got everybody shows everything. It's a bunch of show. Like I said, I've never been to a hockey game. I don't even like hockey. I've been to 4 or 5 nights just for the experience. Yeah. It's not even about the game to me. Yeah. It's just all the
spectacle, right?
Oh my gosh.
It's awesome.
It's incredible. Yeah. It's incredible.
Man,
it's incredible.
Check it out.
Good. Enjoy your time here in St. Louis. There's other pizza places, by the way.
Yeah, give me another one.
There's a place called Angelo's in North County that is really good. Right off of Old House Ferry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Angelo's.
There's a little place over here called Pizza Hut.
I know that. See, that's good pizza. That's good pizza. Oh, I'm going to go to barbecue place. Which barbecue place should I go to?
right close to Westport, Bandanas is really good. You can't go wrong
I'm
with
going to give you
Bandanas.
my guy Heavy Smoke off of
Heavy
That's the
Smoke
one
is
they said
good.
I'm going to. Heavy
That's
Smoke.
where you need to go.
good.
Chris,
Yeah.
ask for
Get
Chris.
that bandana out of here. We're going to Heavy Smoke.
Chris will get you together.
Chris,
He is.
all right.
He does.
Yeah,
a
he
good
brings
job.
in great stuff to us. We always
Listen,
appreciate it.
I tracked him down in the hallway one day to tell him how good the barbecue was.
What was your favorite there?
It was he had some I forget what it was, but it was some
great
ribs.
brisket.
I think.
Oh, okay.
Brisket, ribs. It was
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Can't
there.
go wrong.
Heavy Smoke.
Yeah, I had to walk him down and hey.
Where you running off to? Come back here. Come back here. I need more.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
The very funny Michael Yo at the Funny Bone at Westport tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. Just go to the website and you can get tickets there. And don't forget to follow Michael, as we mentioned, on the YouTube at Michael Yo. That's Y-O. Coming up here, we've got the Rush Hour Reset on 101 ESPN. And player salaries.
Hey, it's Carey, and if you're a man that is waking up in the middle of the night to urinate and maybe you feel like you need to go but can't quite go, then you need to contact my friends over at the Midwest Institute for Non-Surgical Therapy. It's not a great feeling, right? It's something that you're struggling with and you want to get going, but you just can't. You could be suffering from an enlarged prostate or what is known as benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. It's frustrating. And my friend Dr. Akinwande at Mint STL has the solution. The solution is called prostate artery embolization, or PAE. It's a groundbreaking, minimally invasive procedure that treats BPH. The procedure will literally help you get going again. After PAE, the prostate shrinks within 24 to 48 hours, and over a 6-month period, your prostate could reduce in size by around 40%. And the best part about it, it's covered by most insurances. Reach out to Mint STL today to schedule your appointment. That's MINTSTL.com, MINTSTL.com, and tell them Carey sent you.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
9:06 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke, Carey, Randy. Blues tonight against the Ottawa Senators, featuring Vladimir Tarasenko. Pregame at 6, action at 7 here on 101 ESPN. The Blues playing their first game under interim head coach Drew Bannister. One of the interesting takeaways that I had from yesterday's Doug Armstrong press conference was when Army was asked if Bannister would be the interim head coach for the rest of the season.
No, it's as I said, I'm not going to have weekly updates. I'm going to get to know Drew, and as I'm getting to know Drew, I'm going to see what's going on around the league. I'm not going to rush into anything, and Drew knows that. It's his job to come in here and do what Craig did the last time he was here. You know, all of a sudden he became the front runner, and he became the runner, and he became the man.
But it does sound to me like, with that answer, that Drew Bannister will either be the head coach, the permanent head coach of the Blues by the end of the season, or they'll have somebody else in place by the end of the season.
That sounds like somebody else.
Yeah, kind
of.
Yeah, unless
before the
whatever.
end of the season?
I'm sure that I feels like they probably do have some people in mind, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe if they're going to go with a younger, less experienced coach, maybe they want to get some of the issues that they perceive in the room out of the room.
Yeah, I was going to say, wouldn't it make more sense to, let this season play out however it's going to play out, and then revisit everything at the end of the season? Okay, we need to fix this. We need to change this. This player needs to be moved if we can. And this player maybe is more of a player than we thought he was. He needs more time on the ice. We got to figure out ways. They just have to. It's going to be a hard reset after this season, because you fire a coach midway through, a coach that we all agree, I think, has done a great job and was doing a great job this year, but players were not responding. You're going to have to just hit the reset button and figure out what parts of this team work well, what parts don't, and where can we get better, and how can we get better sooner rather than later.
Yeah, they have to be able to figure that out. And I'm just interested in, is this going to be a younger coach? Is this going to be a coach with a lot more experience? What kind of coach is going to get the most out of these guys in that room?
Doug Armstrong has talked at length about being able to connect with young players. And I'm thinking a 65-year-old Joel Quenneville probably is not the guy you choose to connect with young players.
Probably not.
I'm guessing somebody probably that is closer to the age of the players that you're paying a lot of money to and might have issues with.
But then you lose experience in that, too.
Yeah, you do. So you put together a veteran staff.
Man, listen, I don't care who's the coach if I'm the player, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you bring in here. The coach you need is a guy that's going to teach you how to play the game, demand you to work your hardest and be your best every single day. But at the end of the day, even all those things aside, if I don't go out and do what I am capable of doing, then it doesn't matter. It's not. it's not about the coach and his X's and O's and his philosophy and his pregame speeches. It's about me. It's about me doing my job. And I think this team collectively have not done a good enough job every single night. And it doesn't matter who you bring in. You can bring in the greatest coach of all time. If the dang on players don't want to do their job at the level, it's not going to matter.
Carey, you are 100% right. And that's why I think that most of us were stunned and saddened by the departure of Craig Berube, because we know Berube can coach a Stanley Cup championship team. But we don't know if these players are capable of it or if they're willing to sacrifice enough to win.
Well, and that's what I think has been most telling with everybody that we talk to. You have Bernie on today, and then you have Jeremy on yesterday. And just talking to everybody and Curbs, everybody was very surprised because this is exactly what we expected from the Blues this season. And will they likely make another coaching change? Probably not this season, like during the season. At the end, I do agree with you guys that is more likely the case here. But it doesn't seem like Army is very set on Bannister being the next head coach, barring something crazy happening. They go on another Stanley Cup run-ish, because that was unexpected.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that this group is capable of that.
No, physically
that's
they
fair,
aren't.
right?
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
There are no Ryan O'Reillys, there are no Alexander Steens, there are no Jaden Schwartzes, there are no Vladimir Tarasenko's, there's no Alex Petrangelos, there's no Jay Bouwmeesters on this team. So, no, it's not going to happen. But that being said, they can play with a little bit more fire. Braden Shen, the captain, how do they do that?
Yeah, just that passion, it should come from within. You can't try and teach guys to be passionate. If you're playing for the city and each other and your teammates, passion should just come out naturally. You should want to win. You should want to, cheer on your teammate. You should want to have personal success. I don't think you can't teach guys to be passionate. It's either you have it in you or you don't. And right now, I think you're going to see some passion here moving forward. I think it's been a little bit stale in our locker room, and we've tried different ways to get it out. But right now, like I said, go back to where we were with the accountability. There's going to be that moving forward. So that right there should turn some lights on in everyone's head in the organization and moving forward.
Either you have passion or you don't, is what Braden Shen said.
Mm-hmm.
If it takes for someone to lose their job for you to realize, I should play hard, you probably don't have it in you. The great Don Beebe, who I adore, great man, trained me when I was coming out of college. You saw one of the greatest plays in football, NFL, Super Bowl history is him chasing down in a game that they had no chance of winning. Don Beebe said, you can't put in what God left out. And if you don't got heart, if you don't have passion, if you don't have the desire to show up and do your job every day, Braden Shen can't help you. Craig Berube is fired. He couldn't help you. Armstrong can't help you. Benner can't help you. No one can help you do what you should be willing to do every single day for yourself and for your teammates. That's a you thing. Accountability is making sure you are doing what you need to do every single day. And if you're not willing or unwilling to do that, then nothing is going to change that.
And that's the ultimate question. Is that something that can be taught?
Is that? No. That
has to come within you,
The
right?
most frustrating thing for me as a coach and as a former player was having teammates or coaching players that have so much ability but don't have the drive or the will to do what needs to be done to be great or be successful. Because I don't know any other way. I'm going to give you everything I got. But if you're not willing to sacrifice time, energy, effort, pain, what are we doing?
Right.
We're wasting time.
Coming up, we're going to turn to baseball. Greg Amsinger in L.A. for the Shohei Ohtani press conference tonight. John Heyman reporting this morning on MLB Network that the Yankees and Dodgers are the co-favorites to land Yoshi Yamamoto right now. We'll talk to Greg about that and more next on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. And as you know, this year I picked up a new hobby, one that I know will last a lifetime, and that is golfing. And I'm being taught at the best spot in town. That is Family Golf and Learning Center. While it's getting a little bit colder outside, I know that it's bright and sunny, so you can still get out there today. But you can get some practice in over at Family Golf and Learning Center. They have the warmest driving range all winter long, 30 covered and heated bays, 3 indoor TrackMan, and then you can warm your belly as well with some delicious food and drinks from their Back 9 restaurant. So you can just make a whole day of it. Perfect getaway this weekend, and also the perfect spot for your holiday parties. I'm going to actually get some of my girlfriends together for a day over there soon. Speaking of which, 'tis the season for some holiday shopping. Family Golf and Learning Center has the perfect gifts for the golfer in your life, including a club fitting sale. They're offering a free fitting with a purchase of $300 and more. So for more information about Family Golf and Learning Center, go to familygolfonline.com. Learn, practice, play your best golf.
Brooke Grimsley, Carey Davis, Randy Karraker. We go to the celebrity line right now, and we go to the West Coast where our buddy Greg Amsinger, native of St. Louis, product of the Lindenwood University, and the lead anchor for MLB Network is with us. Greg will be on your TV tonight as the Dodgers introduce Shohei Ohtani and his new 10-year, $700 million contract. Greg, good morning. How you doing?
You know what? Not as well as Shohei Ohtani. I mean, if you can defer $680 million, you're living the good life, and I'm very happy for him.
Would you defer, by the way, $680 million of yours?
You know what? It's an interesting idea. The more I think about it, let's take away all the New Balance money, all the money he has on the side, which is like astronomical. He doesn't need the salary. That's how blessed he is. But when you're like in the grind and watching these players focus like they do around the clock to get their bodies to be performing at this level, you really don't have a lot of free time. You're not going to do anything crazy with your free time because you can't let your body go to hell. So I kind of like the idea. Just, I'm going to live $2 million is a lot of money, but knowing that when I'm done, I can really go buck wild and I'm living on $68 million a year for 10 years. That sounds pretty fun to me.
For some reason, I can't see Shohei Ohtani going buck wild, Greg. that would be great to see, though, wouldn't it?
Well, no one understands that what happens to a baseball player. They say baseball players die twice. They say they die when they retire because all the world rolled out the red carpet for them. Those red carpets aren't there anymore. The doors aren't opening for them anymore. So you never know. It's kind of like they had 2 midlife crises. So he might need to buy like 35 Corvettes when he retires. You just don't know what Buck Wild is, okay? So it's like a different definition for everybody.
Do you think that Shohei Ohtani is worth the 10-year, $700 million?
Yes, absolutely, no doubt in my mind. He pays for himself, and that's just the truth. You're going to get so many international businesses wanting to sponsor and pour money into your Dodger product. The TV ratings are going to be astronomical. I mean, through the roof to watch this guy. He's going to be in Hollywood. So all this other merchandise uptick and platforms that you don't even know that the Dodger brand could be a part of will be they'll be strutting their logo everywhere. He is different than every player we've ever seen. He's two players in one. And, you know, if you just want to break it down, we have pitchers that make over $40 million a year. We have position players that make over $40 million a year. Now, you tell me which of those players are so much better than Shohei Ohtani at pitching or hitting. Which one of them? So it looks to me he gave them a hometown discount. Like, that's not $40 million a year times two. It's $70 million, and I think he's worth every single penny. And what you'll see is a guy that's obviously committed to winning, to do this deferred money, and because he's committed to winning like this, he's absolutely worth $700 million because you're going to build a great roster around him. The Dodgers are going to be a force for years to come.
Greg, there was a report that the San Francisco Giants may have offered him a similar contract or maybe even more, but obviously he turned it down and went to the Dodgers. Ken Rosenthal says the perceptions about San Francisco are affecting their ability to recruit star free agents. They have a city problem. Do you agree with that?
You know, it's funny. I was saying this. I'm not trying to like toot my own horn here and say that Ken stole my story, but I saw Ken in Nashville, and he tried to give me like a handshake, an awkward handshake. And you know how we all have buddies where you're like offended by that, right? Like if one of your friends puts his hand out and you haven't seen him in a while, you're like, "What are you doing? Give me a hug." So I like hug little Ken Rosenthal. I adore Ken Rosenthal. I'm not saying I planted this in his mind, but I was walking around saying that San Francisco has an issue. The Giants have an issue. And if you go back in time, Giancarlo Stanton would not accept a trade to go play in San Francisco. I could repeat all the stuff that he wrote about. Aaron Judge said no. Carlos Correa said no. They can't get Shohei Ohtani for which when they offer him $700 million. There are a lot of things going on, but I do believe the politics connected to Major League Baseball, it is what it is. You got a bunch of millionaires that mostly come from the southern portion of our country where politically it leans red. And they don't want big government with fewer taxes, so they go to states and they buy property in states where their income is not taxed. And San Francisco is so not that way. California, extremely high taxes. But San Francisco is viewed as the ultimate liberal haven. And Major League Baseball players are not that way. I mean, Aaron Judge is not that way. I never believed for a second that Aaron Judge was going to sign with the San Francisco Giants. Did he use the Giants to drive the price of poker up, to get what he wanted out of the Yankees? Yeah, absolutely. Maybe Ohtani did the same thing. Maybe Correa did the same thing. But at the end of the day, the Giants got to figure out a way to rethink this, because even if you go back in time to their 3 championship teams, name the big money guy they had. They were able to re-sign Matt Cain. Tim Lincecum really never got a huge bite of the apple, but it was Barry Zito who, you know, in his off time had a man bun and played the guitar at cafes, right? Like, this is the kind of guy they were able to lure to be a Giant. And when he was a free agent, they never signed marquee free agents for those 3 championship teams. So this has been going on a while. The last major free agent they landed was Barry Bonds. He made that ballpark look small. No one else has been able to do that. That's another issue they have. I see this as an ongoing problem for the San Francisco Giants, and the way we used to look at them as a brand is going in the wrong direction, unfortunately.
Hey, Greg, your colleague John Heyman reporting on MLB Network this morning that the Yankees and the Dodgers are now tied in terms of being the favorites for Yamamoto. First of all, do you expect that you might get some word on that tonight? Second of all, the Dodgers, even with Shohei Ohtani, they need to build a starting rotation for 2024, don't they?
They do. They don't have enough. Even Clayton Kershaw sitting out there right now. They're going to start taking care of business immediately after today's press conference, which you can see live on MLB tonight. I'll be with Harold Reynolds. We'll be interviewing Shohei Ohtani, Andrew Friedman, everybody, even Stan Kasten, the president of the organization. I think Yamamoto has a major decision to make, and if I'm Yamamoto, do I want to sit in the shadows after I signed a $300 million contract and let this one star steal the headlines again when it comes to the United States? I mean, Yamamoto, no matter what he does, and he might be even more decorated as a pitcher than Shohei Ohtani. Statistically, he is. But if he signs with the Los Angeles Dodgers, it's like, oh, yeah, we also have Yamamoto. It's always Ohtani. It's going to be Ohtani's team. Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman are going to feel that. They're really gracious and they're very kind gentlemen, so they'll be on board. But Shohei Ohtani doesn't really want to be around the media all that much. It comes his way, but he wants to avoid it. So to be on Shohei Ohtani's team, which Yamamoto knows all about, is people asking you about Shohei Ohtani. No matter what you did, you're getting asked questions about your teammate, Shohei Ohtani. So I still think, and I know Ohtani's part of the recruiting process to land him, I still put the Yankees ahead of the Dodgers in the free agent recruitment of this young man, because I think he wants to carve his own niche. Is Garrett Cole a great pitcher? He is. He's not 25 years old. So Yamamoto is going to sign a $300 million contract. Well, he'll be in uniform for that team that he signs with much longer than Garrett Cole will be pitching for the New York Yankees. So I think he's still leaning towards an East Coast team to carve out his own niche here in the United States.
Greg, just because we didn't get to talk to you about this last week, but what do you think about the announcement that Yadier Molina will be the new special assistant of the president of baseball operations, a special assistant to the president of baseball operations to John Mozeliak?
I love the move. People look at it and go, "Uh-oh, this is tough for Ollie Marmol. His replacement is upstairs sitting next to the GM." Please don't think that. That's not what's happening. The only way Ollie Marmol is not managing the St. Louis Cardinals is if John Mozeliak is not in the front office of the St. Louis Cardinals. It is just the way it is. Ollie Marmol is doing everything that John Mozeliak wants to do. Now, can Yadier Molina inject some in-game common sense up in that room, up in that front office? Absolutely he can. Now, I'm not saying the front office is lacking common sense. I'm saying this is a trend throughout Major League Baseball, where when everyone thinks the same thing and they're all in line analytically, it's actually smart to have someone who thinks differently up there, because groupthink doesn't really lead you to the most success over the course of 162, which doesn't. So Yadier Molina has the machismo to sit up there and say whatever he wants, and he's going to offer his opinion. And if you roll your eyes at that opinion, then you're hurting yourself. You're hurting the organization. So I think Yadier Molina is going to be perfect at this job. Do I think it leads to him managing the St. Louis Cardinals someday? I do not think that. Unless there's a different GM, unless there's someone that is inexperienced, that takes over, that is new president of baseball operations. As long as John Mozeliak's there, he's not going to put somebody in that seat that's going to push back on him. That's just not going to happen. But I do think it's great the Cardinals made sure that Yadier Molina's intellect and experience is in their suite, in their front office suite, because that can only benefit the Cardinals.
Greg, last thing before we let you go, you were at the winter meetings, as we mentioned last week, and you got a chance to talk to all of the principals from the Cardinals. With the three people that they have signed, Gibson, Lynn, Gray, are they done?
They're done with free agency, in my opinion, and based on everything they're saying, they're done with free agency. Do I think that they're going to really focus on their bullpen? Absolutely. It's one of the worst bullpens in baseball last year. It was musical chairs. That's who they were going to give the ball to when the game mattered and it was on the line. I think they acquire at least 2 more relievers before we're done and head off to spring training. I would more than likely it's going to be 3. They need to reimagine this bullpen. They will. Just like they added the starters that we all assumed that they were going to add, not exactly the pitchers that we thought they were going to add, but we knew they were going to add 2 to 3 starters. Same thing with the bullpen, but I don't think it's going to be free agent starters. They might sign free agent relievers, but you're not going to see a major A-list free agent coming off the board going to the St. Louis Cardinals.
And no trades, right?
Trades are in the mix. The problem with trades, there are too many people that want to trade for the names that everybody wants. So Corbin Burns, Dylan Cease, Tyler Glass. Now, the price of poker is astronomical right now. And with the Cardinals trading Tyler O'Neill already, I just don't know how many more pieces out of their cupboard they're going to throw in to acquire one of these guys. Would it be amazing if they did? Absolutely. But I'd really be surprised. At this point, from what I'm hearing it would take to acquire one of those three pitchers, I think that's too steep for the Cardinals.
I'm pleasantly stunned that you're joining us from L.A. and you're not on a golf course.
I've been on a golf course in forever, Randy. And you know what that probably means? I'm going to play great the next time I tee it up.
That's the way it works.
Isn't it sad? Isn't that sad? The more I play, the worse I get. It's terrible.
I know the feeling. Welcome to my world, brother.
It's good to be here, Randy. It's good to be here. Thanks for opening the door.
Hey, you got it. We will be tuned in tonight for the Ohtani press conference. As always, thanks for the time. Thanks for joining us from L.A., and we'll talk soon.
All right, you guys are the best. Take care.
Thanks, Greg. See you. Greg Amsinger, MLB Network here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've kind of watched a tradition crumble here in St. Louis. Same thing is happening where Carey Davis used to play. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Carey, and if you're needing some work done around your house, well, let me tell you about STL Design and Build. Now, I'm a person that truly believes in customer service. I don't care how good your product is. If you're not a great person, I don't want to work with you. Well, STL Design and Build, they have great products, but they are also great people. They truly believe in treating people how they want to be treated. They're an award-winning company that is taking home the top workplace award as well as the best home improvement award. They can do siding. They do bath remodeling, kitchen remodeling. They will do everything that you need done around the home. Siding, they are a great company that I have worked with that has done work on my home, and I am truly appreciative of it because it was done in a timely fashion. It was done on a budget that met my needs, and they will get you what you need to be done. They will get you a free quote. Reach out to them at stldesignandbuild.com. That's stldesignandbuild.com. The STL is for St. Louis, but it's also for Sky's the Limit. That's what they will do. That's how they will treat you. stldesignandbuild.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are back in action tonight, facing off against the Ottawa Senators. 7 p.m. puck drop means we have a 6 p.m. pregame show starting right here on 101 ESPN and 101ESPN.com. And, of course, it is the first game behind the bench for Blues interim coach Drew Bannister, taking over for the fired Craig Berube. Also this week, not a lot of college basketball. It is exam week for your local schools, but this weekend they're get back in action. Louisiana Tech traveling to face off against the Billikens. That's Saturday at 7 p.m. Colgate travels to face off against the now 16th ranked Fighting Illini, and that's a noon contest on Sunday. And then Seton Hall travels to Columbia to face off against the Tigers, also Sunday 4 p.m. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
You could bring guys in that are veterans, but they're not. Just because they're a veteran football player doesn't mean that they're a Steeler. Like, they know what it is to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. When I left, I was kind of the last guard there, obviously. Like, Pouncey left the year before, Dave left. Like, those guys left, and it was like I was the last one. There was such an age gap for me and everybody else on offense that there just wasn't that Steeler tradition passed down. And you have it on defense, don't get me wrong, but you don't have it on offense right now, and it's just making it really hard. You're not seeing, in my opinion, the toughness on offense. And I say toughness in the sense of a Steeler toughness. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with like okay, this guy's soft or anything. Like, who's grabbing someone by the face mask and being like,
yeah,
that's not what we do. It's not what we do.
That is Ben Roethlisberger, the former Steeler quarterback, on his podcast, Footballin' with Ben Roethlisberger. He said, quote, "Maybe the tradition of the Pittsburgh Steelers is done." Carey Davis, your take.
That's painful to hear. And it's painful to hear because, I know what he means about toughness on offense or the mindset on offense. I've watched George Pickens. I've watched Deontay Johnson come off the ball on run plays and not do a thing. Whereas I played with a wide receiver that broke people's jaws in blocking. Literally, you would motion him down. I mean, he literally broke a guy's jaw, but you could motion him down and have him go block a defensive end or block a linebacker, and he's going to be a Hall of Fame wide receiver at some point in his career. He's been a finalist for a couple of times in Hines Ward. This is the toughness that he's speaking of. It's the willingness to do things for your team that may not be in the stat book. It's not going to show up because you made a great block on a safety that sprung an 80-yard run or a 30-yard run, but it's crucial. And there's a play, if anyone gets a chance, Christian McCaffrey broke a 75-yard run in that game last weekend, and Brandon Ayuk was running downfield, made another block downfield, and helped him get 5 to 10 more yards on the run. Those are the things that when you have a championship team that matter, because that's not going to show up in the stat sheet. But every man in that film room that watches that on Monday or Wednesday when they watch film is going to say, that's a teammate that I want on my team. And right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers they're not showing that right now.
And that's a very tough statement there. When you hear that, when he says it feels like the Steeler way is just not there. Maybe the tradition of the Pittsburgh Steelers is done. That's a pretty big statement. Is that him talking about just the players, or is he also trying to call out Tomlin and his staff?
Well, I think it's all tied in hand in hand. I mean, I think the reason why it has slipped in such a way, and then the crazy part is, it's still there defensively.
Yeah.
Like you heard a couple of weeks ago that Minkah Fitzpatrick and Deontay Johnson got into it in the locker room. I don't think defensively, I think those guys know what Pittsburgh Steeler football means and what it means to be a Steeler and show up in that city, hard hat, blue collar, go to work every single day, make plays. You're not going to make all of them, but you make more than you miss. And that's what they do defensively. Offensively, it has turned into some type of diva receiver offensive mentality. In Pittsburgh, we didn't wear sleeves. Like, it was a mindset. Like, Hines saying, we don't wear sleeves here. Hines, it's 7 degrees outside. Doesn't matter. We're not wearing sleeves. And it's not about being comfortable or being tough. It's mental, because that team on the other sideline from Miami or from Jacksonville in January is looking at us like, these guys are crazy. Well, it's freezing out here. It's cold for everybody, but mentally, we're tougher than you, and we're going to show it. And that's what this team has not been – they haven't been showing that, especially on the offensive side. So I understand what Ben is saying, and I think, we all are a part of making sure that the legacy and the tradition is passed on. For somehow, some way, it has lost it. They have lost it on the offensive side of the ball.
There is a way to get players. All you have to do is draft a bunch of Big Ten offensive linemen, right? And
that helps.
It does. But the other thing that you need to do is find somebody from an offensive standpoint that can instill that sort of attitude and demeanor. I wonder where that person is. Michigan does that, right? Michigan plays that kind of football. But where do you find that guy that can instill that sort of attitude?
You have to have, like he said, there's a level of respect amongst men in those locker rooms. And if you are not being respectful of our jobs, of our work that we have to put out here every single Sunday, Thursday night, whatever it is, that's problematic. And so now the conversation is more confrontational. Hey, you gonna get this done or not? Mm-hmm. It started off as, hey, bro, we need you to do this. You got to make that block. It's very, pat on the back. After a while, it's like, I asked you a couple of times, man, don't keep messing this up because we want to win, and you are a vital, crucial, critical part of us winning games.
Check it out. It's the Footballin' with Ben Roethlisberger podcast, and really pointed words about where the Steelers are right now. And, oh, by the way, it's kind of like watching the Cardinals with their lack of fundamentals last year. The tradition that was built over so many years falls off, and it's not what I grew up watching and knowing, and I'm sure for Pittsburgh Steeler fans that are my age, even before, because they were great in the 70s too, it's the same thing. It's just not the Steeler way anymore. As we head down the stretch on this edition of the opening drive on 101 ESPN, we've got some Def Leppard and Journery tickets to give away. That's going to be fun. Oh, no.
Journery.
Do we? Oh, yeah, we got it. Yeah. Def Leppard and Journery. Yeah, so we've got those to give away.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we got them.
Oh,
got them for you. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to tell you about my experience of riding on the MetroLink. So I decided one day that it would just be super easy to do to go over to a Blues game, and we have a stop that's like right over by our house, Randy. So I was able to get on quickly. Also, I used their app to figure out which MetroLink I needed to use, what time was available, and also to get my pass. And it was only $5 for an all-day pass. But even if you don't ride, there's so many benefits to the Metro.
And like you say, Brooke, it's so easy and so convenient. And Metro is vital to the viability of a region to attract Fortune 500 companies. And if you already like Metro, you'll love it once you know what difference Metro makes in our community. And if you have a negative perception, think about the quantifiable positive difference that Metro and a great public transportation system can make on both sides of the river. Even if you don't use it yourself, there are lots of reasons to recommend it to others. It's Metro, and it's so good for St. Louis. Don't let preconceived notions hold you back. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
Rock!
And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
We got stuff going on galore. We got Curbs at Chicken and Pickle on Sunday from 11 to 1. That's chicken and pickle. You know what they have? They have chicken, and then they have pickleball.
Oh, so they don't have pickles on chicken like Chick-fil-A?
They probably do have
They
pickles
probably
on
do.
chicken as well.
That's the secret with Chick-fil-A. Did you know that?
It's delicious.
Well, they marinate with some pickle juice. Yeah.
So says the former Chick-fil-A employee who didn't sign the NDA.
Oopsies. Wait, how long do those last? Whoopsies.
Sunday is the first ever pickleball tournament at the new Chicken and Pickle. And it's open on Sunday. Oh, by the way. Plenty more happening at their new facility that includes 11 pickleball courts, a game yard, a rooftop bar, and much more. Check it out Sunday with Curbs. We'll be at Chicken and Pickle from 11 to 1 in St. Charles. Get more info at 101ESPN.com. Haven't got that perfect holiday gift for somebody yet? 101 ESPN merch. We've got a merch store, and we are going to provide proceeds to Operation Food Search throughout the month of December. We have partnered with STL Shirt Company to provide 101 ESPN t-shirts and hoodies, hats, and more that have the Dunctionary, Be Patient, Jamie Rivers and Brad Thompson jerseys. Order any 101 ESPN clothing during the month of December. Proceeds from all sales go to support Operation Food Search. Visit the 101 ESPN online merch store now at 101ESPN.com, powered by McBride Homes. And you want to go to an awesome concert? Well, Matthew's going to give you a couple of tickets. It's Def Leppard and it's Journey. And they've also got Cheap Trick coming with them on July 6th. Also Heart. And also the Steve Miller Band. It's going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. Tickets go on sale tomorrow, but you can get some right now by just texting us with the answer to the question that Matthew's going to have for you. 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO for your chance to win tickets. And oh, by the way, a bonus chance to register to win tickets at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app. Okay, Matthew, how can people get the Def Leppard and Journey tickets right now?
Well, that's just mean. That's just mean. We had a guest today that kind of that sparked this trivia question for everybody. So we're going to go with texter number 35 on this one. Okay. And my question to everyone is, who's the only coach in Blues history with above a 500 record in the playoffs? Ooh. Who's the only coach in Blues history with above a 500 record in the playoffs?
Text in the name. And if you're texter number 35, you will get it. You'll get the tickets if you're correct. You have to have the correct name. Texter number 35. Cool.
Yes, you do. And also, Carey earlier today brought up a very funny situation. I think it was Tioli when you brought up the Giannis game ball.
Yeah.
Was that Tioli when you brought that up? Well, after you brought that up, I dug a little deeper, and I got the audio from Rick Carlisle, who's the head coach of the Indiana Pacers. And I love everything about this story because it's a story that means so little. That there's zero consequence. No one's getting hurt. This doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And yet the way that it's being talked about is incredible. Here was Rick Carlisle yesterday after the situation.
What happened after the game was unfortunate. There's a misunderstanding about the game ball. It was Oscar Tshiebwe's first official NBA point, so we always get the game ball. We were not thinking about Giannis's franchise record, so we grabbed the ball, and a couple of minutes later, several of their players ended up in our hallway, and there was a big
kerfuffle?
I don't know what to call it, a fracas, melee, whatever. I don't think any punches were landed, but my general manager got elbowed in the ribs by one of their players. And so he certainly has a bruised rib, and who knows, if it's anything more than that. But unfortunate situation. We don't need the official game ball. There's 2 game balls there. We could have taken the other one, but it didn't need to escalate to that.
was apparently a fracas, he called. I would have went with kerfuffle.
I would have gone kerfuffle, too.
Yeah.
And
he said no punches landed, but my GM did get a elbow to the ribs.
What did he say?
Assistant GM, sorry. So which means that there were punches thrown. If you say there were no punches landed, that means punches were thrown.
The way that he phrased it.
But why are you snitching, man? That wasn't. Come on, man. Like you.
There's video.
He's been in, but let them sort the video out. You don't. Yeah. And one of their players elbowed a guy, and he may have hurt his ribs. Come on, man.
It sounds like a boo-boo.
And Giannis on the other side sat there at the podium, was just like, no, I got a game ball. He goes, but this isn't the game ball. He goes, I played 34 minutes tonight. I know what the game ball feels like. This doesn't feel like the game ball. And it's just, I love just the reaction on both sides of the court, to the point where the multiple Bucks players apparently tried to go to the Pacers locker room to get the game ball for Giannis. Listen, that level is just insane to me.
There is one reason, and one reason only, that Thanasis Antetokounmpo is on a roster, right? And that is to make sure that his brother is protected at all times. And that is the player that went to go get said game ball for his. This is big brother, right? Yeah, he's
the only brother.
Big brother. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why he's here. Don't make a mistake about it.
And what's going to happen when Giannis scores 65? Is he going to just say, okay?
He's going to want that one, too.
Yeah, but can he give the 64 back to the guy who scored his first bucket?
Yeah, he'll be all right.
I wonder if Giannis has his first official points in the NBA ball.
Probably not. That's a good question.
Yeah.
He was a first-round pick. Yep. So it was a big deal.
Did this graduate from fracas to kerfuffle? Did it become a brouhaha?
I think it might have been a full-on brouhaha.
Rick Carlisle, it was a bar fight.
A melee.
A melee. It was like the malice at the
And there was a big I don't know what to call it, a fracas.
Fracas.
A fracas.
Fracas doesn't
causing
fly
a
for me.
fracas.
I'm going with melee.
Sure.
Yeah.
This guy here. He played too long. He played and coached too long.
Maybe speaking of NBA players, maybe getting a little extemporaneous with their hands outside of the bounds of the game. Carey Davis, we mentioned it earlier. Draymond Green indefinitely suspended by the NBA. Again, this is his fourth time being suspended in the calendar year of 2023. He was suspended 2 times in the second half of last year's regular season. He hauls off and tries to murder Rudy Gobert on national television like a week and a half ago.
Oh, that is so much.
He's been suspended 18 times.
He's been 18 different times across his career.
He probably needs to tighten up, man. He probably needs to.
Maybe, CD. Just maybe.
He needs to tighten the F up?
Yeah, definitely. I was on his side when he choked Rudy out. I was okay with that. You can't just roundhouse right somebody just because they kind of moving you off.
He plays with his arms really wide, though, is what he said.
That was a direct smack to the face.
Well,
that was insane.
He was trying to hit him.
Yeah.
To his defense, he wasn't trying to hit him that hard.
Oh,
but
come
he
on.
was trying to hit him.
The way that he flailed his body. The way he flailed his body
would
was
have been
hard.
better if it would have been the left hand coming back and doing that than as opposed to the right hand coming all the way.
He's just playing in the wrong era.
This is all that is. Because you could undercut a guy and watch him do, tumble all the way to the ground. It was awesome.
Yeah, so he'll be up for a while, and he's going to have to buy in to the idea that he has a problem. He's going to undergo counseling.
They stink, too.
Yeah. Oh, they're bad. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's like
rugged.
3 or 4 hours late. Like I don't even think that, like Rasheed Wallace said this is our fault.
Boy.
But I don't think
definitely could have played for the
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if this would have flown in 2005 in the NBA with that Pistons squad.
90s.
This wouldn't have flown. I mean, this is Riley era Knicks or Bad Boys era Pistons. Like those are the last time you were hauling off and punching guys full on in the middle of the game.
Danny Ainge and Kurt Rambis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clothesline. Yeah. No layups here. You thinking?
He's a step behind Kermit Washington.
Yeah. He's not that far. Because Kermit tried. He tried to kill somebody.
Did. Rudy T. Yeah.
He tried to kill Rudy Tomjanovich.
You got the closest.
Kermit
talks about that one. He's just like, I hit him like I usually hit people. It's like, well, Rudy did not take it well.
No, he neither did his face.
No.
Great job today by our producer and audio and video engineer, Matthew Rocchio. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Brooke, did you have fun today?
Yes.
Good.
How about that?
CD?
Show us your face. We want to see your face.
Who said that? You want to see my face?
Hey, we had a great interview today with Bernie Federico. Michael Yo in studio was a lot of fun. By the way, you can see him at Funny Bone tonight. Just Google Funny Bone Westport and get tickets and see Michael Yo and Greg Amsinger also on the podcast brought to you by Dobbs Center Auto Center.
By the way, Michael Yo, 6-5 in his playoff career for the St. Louis Blues. The only coach over 500. Quinville and a couple other ones exactly at 500.
And what about Chief?
Chief's just below 500.
Wow, how about that? How about that?
That's why
I think it's 485.
I didn't make
off the top of my head.
Okay. Balloon party coming up. And then after that, BK and Ferrario from 11 to 2, and then the Fast Lane this afternoon. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7. Have a great Friday Eve, everyone.
That's right.
All right, so you've got Christmas just around the corner and just a couple of weeks away. Take care of your holiday shopping with a gift that your family will love, not just this year, but for years to come. And you can do it in a matter of a couple of clicks with a gift card from mysoundstory.com. You can have myself or Tim McKernan or Anthony Stalter interview your parents or grandparents and really get the story of their life. And it's a conversation that will be kept for eternity. You'll get an audio file, and your family, your grandparents' kids and grandkids and great-grandkids will be able to listen to their life story forever. It's a podcast setup, and everyone is going to enjoy the voices of your family members. And you and your siblings now can go in on a gift card for your parents and get them a sound story at mysoundstory.com. And for a limited time, enter the promo code ESPN and get 20% off that Sound Story gift certificate. Just go to mysoundstory.com, enter the promo code ESPN to get this holiday special of 20% off a gift certificate for Sound Story. Promo code ESPN. Sound Story for you, for them, forever.